everybody, and welcome to the Initiative Order and our last game of the St. Jude's Charity Weekend. So far, the Initiative Order has smashed the original goal of $500, but there is still so much more we can do. And tonight, we're going to definitely try and do that. So if you have the means to consider donating in the link in chat, it'll be going around, or !donate if you are interested. I'm going to be your GM for the evening, your nightmare creator. My name is Ray or Brick. I go by she, they pronouns, and welcome to the Frozen Serpent. Before we get in and start playing, I want to go around and introduce everybody. So just give us your name, basically just your socials, and just say hi to everybody. We'll go around in order, starting with Kappa. Kappa, how are you?
Oh, hello. First, yay. Okay.
Yay.
Hi everyone. My name is Kappa. You can find me on Twitter at the Kappa Chris. I do the whole TTRPG thing on the social medias and stuff, where I do my best to uplift marginalized voices in the community. Yeah, it's just Twitter mostly. Today I will be playing the name is interesting. The name my character's name is Painful Attracts the Moon, or P.A.M. for short. So cool. Just call me P.A.M.
Just call me P.A.M. All right. So moving on over, we have Sin. How are you doing tonight, Sin?
I'm doing good tonight. Hi everyone, I'm Sin, Sin_gal on Twitch and Twitter, and I am just a variety streamer. I typically play video games, or I play my guitar on stream with beats that I made myself. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to playing this game. It's been a while since I've gotten into the TTRPG scene, and yeah, I'm hoping to have some fun.
Perfect. Awesome. I'm very excited. Let's move right on down to Skull. How are you doing, Skull?
Doing great. Glad to be here. Glad that I was able to be a guest. You can find me on Instagram and an itch page under the Sculpting Chin. I don't have Twitter. I don't have anything else. It's just there. And I will be playing Schlars, a catacomb saint. I'm essentially an undead warrior that was killed in battle long ago.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, we're glad to have you here. And last but certainly not least, returning with me for the third time is Jess. How we doing, Jess?
I am fantastic, Ray. Thank you so much for asking. I'm Jess. I'm coming back and playing that, everyone's favorite creepy occult herb master. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Goblin Queen with 3 E's, or on Instagram at j.rancor. I'm excited.
I'm also very excited. All right, so with that, we're gonna jump on in. We're gonna take an eclectic breath, and we're gonna travel to the land of Tvelland, and we're gonna immerse ourselves in some Mork Borg. So, all right. The air is thick with the smell of deep incense and mold. You can taste on your tongue the heavy scent of vinegar, sage, clove, some rosemary, and wormwood, and it permeates the air around you. But you've become all accustomed to this by now. Working for the Inquisition has its benefits, and being able to smell the sacred burnings of the High Priestess is an honor any wretched fool beyond the walls of Gelgenbeck could ever hope to experience. You breathe in the fumes around you as you prepare for your next mission. The High Priestess herself is sending you beyond the snowy bleaks to Kergus to meet with the Blood Countess in her castle within the walls of Ilians. This journey will not be pleasant, but it's possible. And as you're all going about and collecting your things, we're going to go around and tell us what your character is doing, how your character would prepare, and tell us what they look like. We'll start with P.A.M.
P.A.M. You see this very emaciated figure, clad in leather armor, almost as if the armor is wearing them. Staring off into the distance, a shock white hair, unkempt and wild. At the edge of wherever we are, blankly staring, could be at a wall, could be at the sky, caked with mud, dirt, smudges across their face, and could be blood, you don't know. Skin underneath is bloodless, pale, and their mouth hangs agape, barely breathing. Almost as if waiting, statuesque, and will remain so until prompted.
All right. All right. And why don't we move on over to Sin's character?
Okay. So, my character is a musician. They are playing in a tavern, although they can barely hear themselves because of their broken, crushed ears that actually became part of it due to the bargain that they struck for their unholy musical musings. And so, even though they have become beautiful, they have also become somewhat grotesque in a way. So they basically traded away their afterlife to gain fame and fortune now. And they're just playing, although they can barely hear it.
Very cool. And the camera pans out and switches from this tavern scene, and we'll go and we'll meet Schlars. What's Schlars doing right now as he prepares?
Schlars, he's from an ancient battle. He fell in battle in the name of the Church of the Two-Headed Basilisk. He won them many great deeds for himself and the Church, and when he was laid to rest, he was set with a sacred sword, Saint Britta's purging sword, so that he may watch over it in his afterlife. And he has a most loyal dog named Lork, who was set to watch over his grave so that he may rest undisturbed. But undisturbed he is not, for whether it's the sword itself, Nechrubel herself, or some other power, he was torn from this slumber and found his way to the nearest civilization where this tavern was, and just biding his time, angry that he was yanked from his deep slumber.
Mm-hmm. And as Schlars joins in the tavern, we'll pan out and back in. And where is Vat? How are they preparing?
Vat is sitting on the ground outside from Galgenbeck, so quite comfortable and familiar in this town. And she sits on the ground and has a little like campfire stove and her bottles and and doodads and things just boiling and bubbling as she's preparing what she is making for the day. And you see her, as she's like waiting for stuff to start to boil, she kind of turns around on the ground and like digs her hands into the dirt, finds some very wet, soppy moss, and starts to place it on her forehead and like smearing and getting like grass stains and everything, and rubbing the dirt into her eyeballs and eyebrows and just letting it do whatever markings that it wants to do on her face, as she dips into her bag and pulls out a little bit of ink and starts to make sigils of protection around her eyeballs. When her potions are to her satisfaction, she puts everything away, holds her little laboratory really close to her chest, inside her cloak, and her long tangled hair. She tries to pull it out of her face, and one bat flies out of it, and then another bat flies out of it, and they kind of hover around her, probably getting a little too close, and she bats them away, bats, and makes her way inside.
Okay. And you've all been working for the High Priestess for some time as her inquisitors, as her legion, to do her bidding, whatever that may be. However, you've never worked with each other. So as you conglomerate in this room and give everyone a look over and feel whatever your character feels, you are escorted by her trusted royal guard to the Great Hall. And from there, you're escorted by her personal guard to then her throne room. And as you go in, she's sitting there on her very lavish throne made of glass and metal and iron. And it's high. It's like 10, 12 feet high. And she sits so daintily right in the center of it. And with a map and coordinates in a direction, she sends you onward, saying that you must go to the city of Ilians to see the Blood Countess for more information. So many days pass as you travel to the city, and between there and Gelgenbeck, there is very little to distract you for the task at hand. And thankfully, you all arrive safely at the city. Aliens is a spire city created of black glass that pierces the sky above. And while the castle to the Blood Countess is nestled perfectly in the center with its pale white complexion, you realize there is no color here, no warmth. Torches seem to burn with a pale complexion of only muted grays and charcoals, and the light they give off is dim and quite pathetic. And even as you walk beyond the walls and enter the city, beyond its guarded gate, you look at your clothes for a moment and look at the world, and by the time you look back at your clothes, any semblance of color beyond muted grays, charcoals, and blacks seems to have been sucked right from the cloth. You are quickly rushed through the streets of long winding curves between jagged cornered buildings before reaching a wide expanse, a luring white gate to the home of the Blood Countess herself. You're escorted inside, and within the throne room, you are all made to kneel before Her Majesty as she rises from her seated position. She is small, frail. She looks almost angelic in the light, and it makes you kind of blink your eyes and look at her again and look at the world around you and back at her, and there's something about her aura. She has you kneel, and as she does, she rises from her throne and paces for a few moments before she speaks. It was foretold in the calendar of Nechrubel. The nameless scriptures in Psalm 4. For 5 days and 5 nights, mother's flesh shall be the cloak of demons. And for 5 days and for 5 nights, fathers shall weep. Look to the west. Forth comes fire and a horde, and kingdoms burn. The lyre arc shall make knots of the hearts of men, sundering the strongest bonds. Behold now the endless sea where Leviathan causes waves to be as mountains. Leviathan shall come among you, children winter born and fated to fall before snow. Both shall it take. It was foretold in the nameless scriptures, the calendar of Nechrubel. And now the third communion, a cult of the ancient faiths, has begun to birth new ideas that the end of all could be reversed, even screeched to a halt. They spit out how the two-headed basilisk were wrong, liars, that Nechrubel himself could be defeated. And somehow under his ever-watchful gaze, they have completed a ritual that has frozen Thedkrugeth, the Leviathan that stirs beneath the endless sea. This cannot stand. And as you know, Inquisitors, I have you here to eradicate this infestation upon Verhu's prophecies. I need you to rid Tveland of this putrid group of shits, ruin their ritual, and unfreeze Thedkrugeth to let the calendar commence its natural progression. I have a prisoner, set forth, locked away beneath my keep. They swear they have information, but you can decide if that is anything you may need. Find the third communion and snuff them out. May Nechrubel spare you all. And with that, she sits back at her throne. Her guards surround her once again, and you are all left there, kneeling. What would you like to do?
Schlars stays kneeling. As he does, he brandishes his sword, Saint Britta's purging sword.
I think you might be muted, Schlars.
I can hear Schlars.
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
I can hear you.
Okay. Ray, can you hear me?
I could hear them fine.
Ray, can you hear Schlars? Schlars is talking.
Oh, hold on one second, friends. I'm so sorry. It's me. I'm muted. Give me a second. I can't hear y'all. All right, I think we might be okay now.
Check,
Yeah.
check.
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 There we go. We're good. Sorry,
Okay.
guys.
Beautiful.
So Schlars, as he's kneeling before the Blood Countess, he pulls forth his sword, Saint Britta's purging sword. Your Highness, I will cast down all in your name, all that stand before us.
Thank you. I knew that Nechrubel would bring you to me. I am thankful for your help. She nods.
Nechrubel is not done with me yet.
No. No, he's not. Not yet.
Kneeling falls down into like a child's pose of yoga and like trying to like sifts through her bag to find something to give to the Countess, because she is absolutely awestruck by what this person looks like. And is struggling incredibly, and then finds the tiniest vial of salt, of flavoring salt for food, and she holds it up towards one of the most the closest guard and says, "A gift for the most beautiful in all the land. Hopefully she may accept it."
And the guard comes down and kind of snatches it from your hand very quickly, and you see him inspect it over and wave his hand around it, and nothing happens. And he turns and nods once to the Countess, and she nods in return and extends her hand. And he walks up to her and plops it right down. And you see, as soon as he plops it right down, she brings it close and kind of opens it and sniffs. And she looks back at you and nods, and she says, "Thank you for your gift. I will cherish it and season the meat of this night's feast with yours." And she plops it onto a little like table she has beside her and looks at the rest of you if anybody else wants to do anything in this moment.
P.A.M. will rise and draw the knife pointed at himself. Eyes they got these glasses on. Doesn't really make eye contact, but straight ahead and forward. Takes the hilt, touches it to his chest, touches it to his forehead, puts the knife away and bows. A time lost, I don't know what you'd call it, salute, of honor.
And she, while you're doing this, she kind of nods her head in reverence of understanding what this means, and she bows her head towards you and looks up.
Eradicate. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for understanding your purpose. And then she looks over towards Intollerance and kind of nods to see what their reaction is.
Okay, so I think from the kneeling position, I use my staff to stand up, although I don't need to. And then I just say, "So you just need us to kill a bunch of fuckers, right?"
And you hear a gasp come from her guards, but she herself is quiet and still composed, and she kind of just in essence. Yes. I need you to kill them.
I'm just trying to think of something that I can do to like gain favor, but I'm unsure of what I have on my character sheet that could even help me with that.
That's entirely up to you. She already is in favor of you all being inquisitors of the High Priestess. You already have an inherent trust built in with her, which is why she is so very like accepting of anything else that you give her. It's not necessary, which you would know it's not necessary to give gifts. However, it is something that might put you above and beyond in their graces should you need it in the future. So that's
Okay,
entirely up to you.
Well, then I'll just say, well, as always, Any wish you have is my command.
And it is very appreciated. My command is the will. And with that, you see her kind of like release a hand and shoo you all off. And she is almost picked up by her guards, but she is helped up and quickly escorted out of the throne room while you were all come to your feet. There's two guards that stay in the room with you, but besides that, it is empty.
As soon as that the hand wave happens and she's escorted out, P.A.M. turns very quickly, much faster than he's lets on. Direct line to a guard. Gets up really close to his face. Dungeon.
And the guard nods once and looks to the other guard, who nods in return, and they both quickly grab. One's holding like a giant spear, and the other one has just a shield and what looks to be a sheathed short sword. But they both nod at each other. They kind of brace and ready and kind of like change their posture to be more astute. And they start walking towards the very large portcullis that you came through. It's about maybe same as almost the high priestess's chair was. It's like about 10-12 feet high, wide double doors, iron wrought. It's a bitch to open, so they need both guards to kind of rip it open for you two to, or for all four of you to kind of come in and through. And if you all would like, you are escorted into the dungeon.
Schlars follows suit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure. So they lead you down some winding corridors, and then you go down 6 sets of staircases, and it's just straight down. It's just straight down. There's no walls or nothing. It's single file. And if you had any sort of claustrophobia, this would be inciting it full right. It's very low ceiling, very confined, maybe like 3-4 foot wide, and very spindly. There's even a few steps that are missing, so if you're not paying attention, you might trip and you might fall. But luckily, you're all going slow enough where you don't have to worry about that too much. And the guards escort you down to the dungeon where this supposed prisoner that the Blood Countess had kept in her keep is. And they, as soon as you get down to the last step, you see it's just a massive dungeon. Like it's cell upon cell upon cell upon cell, and they're all in these weird alcoves in jagged corners in makeshift walls of stone and brick that half of them are crumbling, leading into other cells, and you see a wide expanse of all types of creatures and people inside of these cells. But they lead you down into like halfway through the dungeon room, and then they just point to a corner. You approach the cell.
She coughs, and a cockroach flies out of her mouth, and moves forward. It looks into the cell.
Okay. Can you roll me we'll do presence. You roll me presence and see how well you can see. It's very dimly lit. There's not much in here besides like 3 torches that light up the whole dungeon room.
Mm-hmm. And that is a D20?
Yes, it's a D20 plus your presence.
Got it. 15.
Awesome. So you peer inside, and you have become very accustomed, Vat, to seeing within the dingy, dark corners of everything you may need. And you use your very skeptical herb cultist magic eyes to peer in.
My special
and inside,
eyes.
your special eyes. Look with your special eyes. You look in, and there is in the corner, leaning against the wall, just kind of keeping to themselves, almost looks asleep if you were not truly paying attention, but your eyes are pretty keen, and you see about a 6 foot tall, very lanky, very gaunt humanoid figure. From under the solar plexus protrudes a third arm, of which sticks out straight, almost in a permanent holding position. And you can see that it's blackened towards the hand and the fingertips. This extra hand looks almost as it is cursed or something is wrong with it. And it oozes slightly. There's some black drippage coming off of it. He's got very long, heavy, thick hair that falls between his shoulders. It's kind of pushed back, some of it drooping over his eye. He's wearing heavy furs, but he's barefoot. And he looks up at you. Hello?
Hi. Hi. So, what you in for?
I witnessed something that the Countess, I guess, needed to know. She said she needed to keep me here until I was questioned. Are you here to question me?
Oh, yeah.
And as he's saying this, he's approaching the bars now, and you all can see this very tall, gaunt figure with this third arm protruding from his chest. And he holds the 2 bars with his one hand as his third hand just kind of pops out between the other 2 bars because he can't really move it, can't flex it. It's just almost in this like permanent held position. And the way that he approaches the bars, it comes very close to your face, Vat, this third arm that's protruding as you were the first person to approach.
She says, may I? And she reaches on her belt and pulls out a vial and sort of uncorks it and holds it under the hand with the ooze.
And as he does this, you see him kind of like cock a head towards you, like excuse me, but then understands with the vial, you taking it out and kind of assessing your overall look is like, okay. And you see the hand actually the fingers start to move. And as the fingers move, the ooze kind of starts to seep towards the fingertips and just down all over your hand, just making a complete mess as you just hold the vial there, trying to catch as much as you can. Roll me agility and see how much of this ooze you can get.
Oh, okay. -2 is 18.
Okay. Yeah, no, you pretty much get almost an entire bottle of this liquid just oozing from his hand. However, you do now it's like all over your hand and it's dripping out of the floor and you're just like, all right. So you got a vial of this prisoner's black ooze.
Schlars and Intollerance, you both have dogs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are they there?
Yes.
Okay. I sort of like let that happen. I put the cap on my vial and I stick it back onto my belt and I sort of back up and I say, whoever wants to go ahead and go ahead. And I like shuffle to the back of the group and I find one of the dogs and I like put my hand in front of their face to lick the ooze off.
Okay. Okay. You walk over and you're not familiar, Vat, with whose dog is who. You just walk over to the nearest dog and Schlars. It's
Yes.
your dog. How would your dog respond?
Lork would sniff it pretty well and then probably give it a little taste test and then probably go to town.
And as the dog goes to town, the dog is actually enjoying the taste of this ooze. It doesn't seem to be anything poisonous or anything venomous in any sort of way. The dog is like almost eating. Yeah, the dog is like almost eating your hand at this point. They're like, I love this. Like just licking it all up.
Great. Yeah. But when my hand feels a little bit clean, I sort of just like yank it away and like wipe it on myself.
Okay, perfect. And he's just standing there watching this happen, and he sees that there's two dogs, at the back of you where you're all standing, and just goes,
Hateful little beasts.
I haven't seen a dog in centuries. May I?
Schlars steps forward. There's a snap, finger bone snap toward Lord Locke. And he steps forward. So, you are the heathen that the Blood Countess is keeping for us. You came from the north.
I did. Yes, my name is Bagavet. I am the three-armed toy maker. She found me recently and is now here with me. She told me to come with her, for I had seen something unsightly.
Tell us, what did you see?
I believe she called them the third communion. But a group of individuals came to my village, but 3 days ago. They were looking for food, weapons. But they were asking for a material we know not of. They called it obsidian. And they presented us a blade of which it was made, saying they needed more, but I do not know why.
This third communion, are they the reason why you have your third arm?
No.
You have
A
no
malady.
previous run-in.
No. This was the first time I had ever encountered these people. They look nothing like what I know from where I'm from.
When he mentions obsidian, is that something that we would be familiar with, or is that a very foreign idea?
Whoever would like to see if they would recognize what this material is, please roll me. Let's do presence.
I'm using physical dice. I rolled a 14.
Right.
Plus
I
0.
rolled 9.
9, 14,
6.
9 total.
6, and a 9. Okay. So, that it does not register with you. You work with dirt and plants and things. This is a little beyond your scope. However, Schlars and oh my gosh, I keep wanting to call you Sin because that's your name in Discord. Intolerance.
Schlars
Intolerance.
as well.
Yeah.
Schlars and you've heard of this, but you're not quite familiar with what it is. If it's like soft or hard, if it's something you find in the ground or in a mountain, it's on the tip of your tongue. It's something that you've heard in speech. However, it is P.A.M. P.A.M. It snaps too, and you realize that this is a very strong material. This is a very heated material. This is not found anywhere in Kergus, and for somebody asking for this material in this land, it's extremely off-putting.
No physical indication of any sort of understanding. But P.A.M. will turn to that. Obsidian. Dangerous. Very rare.
I was just going to ask if it's common. Good, P.A.M. Good instincts.
P.A.M. will, without looking away from that, will draw his knife and point it to this three-armed toy maker. Where?
In my town, Eliana. Maybe 2 days journey into Kergus, southwest of the city of Hellions. I believe so.
As with that is being repeated to him, the knife still pointed slowly turns and then repeats it back very slowly. I've already forgotten it. Kappa has already forgotten it, but P.A.M.
It's
Southwest.
so yeah.
2 days
Southwest,
journey.
about a day.
Oh, about a day, southwest.
Yeah.
Great. Lowers the knife. Thank you. And we'll sheathe the knife, retreat to the back, and wait once again. This time, the stare resting on the dogs.
Is there any other information that you have to share, or was that it?
They began to talk openly about their beliefs of ending the apocalypse, and we quickly had to toss them out. Word caught quickly to the High Priestess, and she sought me out, which is why I am here. Beyond that, I do not know much. However, if you do get to Eliana before I do, look for Thera. She can help.
Thera.
And he nods.
Thank you for your openness, heathen.
Yes, your participation was greatly appreciated. Methinks the Blood Countess would also thank you herself, if she could, but she can't, so we're doing it for her.
And he kind of like lowers his eyes and kind of bows his head in reverence as you say that the Blood Countess would thank him as well. And with that, he kind of shuffles back a little bit into the cell, gets comfortable again, unless anybody else would like to approach him again. All right.
I have a question.
Swiftly turn. Oh,
Yeah.
Please go
Question?
Yeah. So my instrument that I rolled, the spinal husk, would that take a daily power to use?
I would say in these roleplay scenarios, if you wanted to use it, no, I'd let you.
Okay. How about a song?
And you see him kind of like go from this almost half asleep position again with his arms curled in and the one protruding. He kind of like uncurls himself again and shuffles up to the bars very quickly. I haven't heard a song in, well, over 3 days. Yes, please.
All of you might want to hold on to something.
And he grips the bars again, like kind of looking around at all of you with this like very nervous glare now, not prepared for that at all.
All right,
P.A.M.
so
just
I
takes a
rolled
slow step
an
backward.
8, so everyone except me tests your agility against a DR 14 or fall prone.
Oh, okay.
I love this.
Bagavit gets blown back to the back of the cell, back hits the wall, and he falls flat on his ass. And you see him just kind of like, oh, I was not prepared for that. You see him like scramble back up. How's everybody else doing?
I fell.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Schlars stood still somehow.
Yeah. All right. So as you're blown back and knocked prone, you all kind of just look back towards Intollerance. What?
Can you like describe like what this instrument is? And
Yeah,
like,
I was just gonna ask. Can you
yeah.
describe what
It
the
is-
sound of it is and what it looks like?
So my idea of what it is, since it's made from a Hellion's shell, is that like it's your typical hand drum type deal where like you slip your hand up in through the back and use a mallet to beat on it.
Oh,
And
cool.
like yeah. So it's basically just like the outer part is like a piece of a Hellion shell, and then Hellion bones make the other casing of it. So when I slip my hand in, it's like behind a bone to be able to
Very
manipulate the sounds of it.
That's very cool.
Very
That's
cool, yeah. And with this massive drum, as Intollerance just starts wailing away, you're all either physically blown away or Schlars, you stand steady. You are familiar with the sound of war drums. You are familiar with the sound of battle cries and of the sort. You are standing strong in this. You actually might even
I
quite
hope you
enjoy
liked it.
Yes.
He like scrambles to his feet and just nods at you, like kind of very much taken aback, but also like, holy hell. And he just kind of makes himself comfortable again and gets back into his position and starts to kind of have that looming sort of almost half asleep.
That stands
look
back
at
up
you
and
behind you.
brushes herself off and is like, I am never prepared for that when that happens.
I told you to hold on.
Yeah, well.
And will slowly collect himself up, the jaw somewhat askew, clicks it back into place, and the same with the glasses. And if you're paying attention, it's a little weird back there, and just comes back to a resting standing position, wordless.
Schlars approaches the bars. Toymaker, one last question. You may stay seated. What
His head comes up.
do you think we should expect to see as far as threats?
In the land of Kergus, it is unforgiving, cold, dark. Bring light, warmth, and do not go where there are most shadows. Things like to lurk and steal your warmth. And with that, he kind of slumps his head again.
Banks has not changed.
I turn to the party. So, I don't really get it. Are we like going to collect this obsidian stuff, or are like we gonna kill everyone around it?
I believe.
Yeah, what I'm getting is there's like this group of people, they're like asking for things that they probably shouldn't have or probably can't really find. I mean, they want to end the apocalypse, so like that's not chill. So I think we just gotta go.
Blasphemy.
No, this world deserves to die.
Yes.
Yeah.
We exterminate cultists. Southwest.
One day.
Yeah, one day.
Mm-hmm.
Obsidian. Lore.
And if they have any obsidian on them, we can take it and bring it back.
Yes.
Favor.
Blood Countess would be most pleased. Let us be on.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Let's get on out of here.
After you.
And
Schlars snaps
P.A.M.
his
P.A.M. just
fingers.
the guards kind of like walked you in and then walked back to where the opening was, to that tiny little, or the tiny staircase that ascended upwards. And as you all kind of gather and walk, they immediately turn, the one leading, and then as you walk up, the one behind, escort you back upstairs and through the main gate of the castle, and send you on your way as you start to traverse southwest to Aliena. You make your way out of Elians, which takes a little while. The day is progressively getting colder and colder. Before you leave Elians, what do you all have to provide yourself warmth on this journey? Or do you need to find ways to provide warmth?
Schlars is undead. His body is not really affected. But if he can provide warmth for others, he has Lork. Lork to cuddle up with somebody.
Beautiful. How about the rest of the party?
P.A.M's in a similar situation. I can't really provide warmth, but I do have a way to make sure no one goes hungry. If that's something we're interested in.
I mean, I will just cuddle up next to whoever will take me.
Lork can cuddle with you.
Yeah, I might need a something or another.
Yeah, I might too.
Sure.
How much is like? I don't have the book. Oh,
I do.
If you
Yeah.
are all looking for, or if you are looking for somebody to sell you either torches or a lantern or something of the sort, you can easily find it while you're within the city walls.
How much is a blanket?
I don't know if you can buy a blanket, but I'll say just for the sake
4
of
silver.
this, I'll say like 2 silver for a blanket, 1 silver for a torch or a lantern.
I will get a blanket and I will get a torch.
Okay.
How much did you say the torch was compared to the lantern?
They're both going to be 1 silver. Yeah, blanket's usually 4, and then a lantern is 5, and a torch is 2. But for the sake of this, I'm just going to say it's on sale. It's a holiday sale.
All right. And
2
should I
silver for
roll
a blanket, 1 silver for either a lantern or a torch.
It's a D6 plus something for how many hours a lantern will work?
Yes, yes.
Ooh, I only rolled a 2.
It's presence plus 6 hours, so you're fine.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So whatever your
6
presence
hours.
is plus 6 hours.
So I will just subtract, let's say for the blanket and the torch, I was sitting at 8 gold. Let's go down to 3.
Cool. All right.
Yeah, I also buy a blanket and a lantern.
Silver.
Perfect. All right.
And
So
if
the
anyone
lantern is
needs
presence
extra-
plus 6 hours.
Got it.
If anyone needs extra gold, Schlars has plenty to share.
Yeah.
Same. P.A.M's not
Same.
getting anything.
I didn't really spend anything before.
Oh, I spent like everything. And I had a lot.
Perfect. All right. So acquiring your goods just with the nearby merchants who quickly kind of gives it all to you and then closes up shop as you see that the winds are now starting to pick up. It is very cold. And you all make your way outside of the city walls.
I use my blanket like a cloak.
Perfect. Cool. Everybody make a toughness roll as you walk out of the gates and into just the barren nothing of Kergus.
Oh, perfect.
Well, yeah, I rolled pretty decently. I don't know if I needed to roll, but I did anyway.
Yep, everybody's gonna roll for toughness.
Toughness. All right.
Yes.
17 total.
Perfect.
Same here.
17. 14. What did
All
you get in
right.
intolerance?
So I rolled a 3 minus 3 for 0.
All right.
Oh.
So everybody immediately kind of has this like this gust of wind kind of rolls through and starts to like billow your cloaks and your clothing. And as you walk outside of the city gates, you do realize like you'll look down at your clothes again and then look back up, and the color has returned. Any color that you had has now returned. And as the wind blows, Intollerance, you're actually knocked over by the wind and you get kind of blown into the snow, your blanket now covered in snow, and you yourself are just kind of like when you're trying to walk against the wind and you can't breathe, it's like you're having a very hard time catching your footing. Roll me one more toughness check.
Could I?
All right, so
assist?
that was 19 minus 3 for 16.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, yeah. So we'll say like right as you're starting to get up, Schlars, you're kind of like hobbling over towards Intollerance, so that they can get up. And you're dusting yourself off. You kind of like shake the blanket out of all the snow. You put it back on you, Intollerance, and you're good to go.
Can I say that after that happened, I take my staff off of my back and start using it as a walking stick, just so I don't just so I have better traction?
Absolutely. You start almost like the ice, like an ice staff, like when they kind of are traversing icy mountains. Absolutely.
And just slamming it down and using it to move myself forward little by little.
Perfect. And you all traverse through and you start walking in what you know to be the southwest direction. You are all very keen in your directional coordinates as members of the Inquisition. And as you are traveling, is there anything you would like to do with one another or talk about as you travel for a little while?
Are there many trees?
I'll say it's very sparse, and the trees that you do see don't have any needles on them anymore. The winds here are just too strong. They're just like these really misplaced giant tree trunks that you can see have just kind of been blown off of all pine needles or leaves or branches. They're just kind of these spindly little creatures. Every so often you're seeing them, maybe every couple minutes, maybe one or two, not very present.
So every time the group comes within, I don't know, 20 feet or so of a tree, you all hear Vat mutter under her breath, "Cursed be upon you, wretched thing. You deserve having no leaves." And she like spits on the ground every time she sees a tree.
That I must remind you again, trees do no harm.
Awful things. Terrible. Awful.
I want to establish that my dog is actually very friendly and loves people, and I just don't trust it at all. It is an evil little beast that just wants to eat us and is waiting for its opportunity. So every time it sees you start like looking at the trees, it like immediately like looks up to me to see if it should go check it out. And I'm just like, do whatever you want. It's fine. And just like, yeah.
Well, whenever or if Schlars dies, there'll be plenty of bones to toss around for the dogs.
At some point during this whole this journey, this trek into the wilderness, P.A.M. will approach each one of you and go, "Hungry?"
I appreciate it, P.A.M., but I do not require sustenance.
As in me or you?
You are hungry?
I brought my own, thanks.
Yeah.
To the organics, the whether you say yes or no, P.A.M. will produce this. It's like bread. It's like bread, but it seems to be coming out of nowhere from his hands as I use my ability, mana from somewhere. Spend use of your powers to create food for D6 people. So I'll go ahead and roll D6. Okay, 3 people. It is weirdly delicious, but unsettling. So
Weirdly delicious yet unsettling is my favorite thing that anyone.
I mean, honestly, I'll take it, just because I'll take anything that's offered to me freely. But Jonathan, eat this.
Dog same as Jonathan?
Yes.
Canon? All right.
He's doing that thing, like if you watch Spirited Away, like he's trying to offer it to you, just very earnestly.
Oh, I take it, and I rip a big part of it and put part of it in my mouth, and like you said, delicious yet unsettling. So
Mhm.
that like eats it. It tastes really good. Like she hasn't had probably fresh bread in who knows how long, right? So it like is this wonderful taste, but then this like sense of dread comes over her, and she's just like, "Where did you get this?"
Uh, he watches you eat it very intently, and when you ask, "Where did you get this?" Delicious.
Yes. How?
Oh, P.A.M. does not know.
Huh. Mystery bread.
Is food good?
Yes. Very good. And she
You-
like continues to nibble on it.
You that are surrounded by life. What is life like now?
Oh. That sort of stands there. She stops walking. She like looks around. She says, "No one has really asked what I think about anything in a while."
You hate trees. You wear moss. Bats live in here.
Well,
Life is drawn to you.
I had I had never really thought about it that way. You know, but I was born in Galgenbeck, and I lived in a cottage. I do not think she was my mother, but she would cook things all day, and not just food, just different potions, and would put them in these glass bottles that I thought were the most beautiful things I had ever seen in my entire life, which was quite short at the time. And one day, she just kicked me out. So I left, and I went to go settle in the woods. And the trees, wretched, wretched trees, they'd whispered to me, and they said things about me, and they looked down on me. I hate them. I hate them. They make funny shapes with their branches and the moonlight, and I would much rather hang out in a bush than live under a tree. And the bats, I don't know. I think I woke up one day and they were there. And they never left. We don't interact much. They seem quite indifferent to me. And yet I am their home. Oh my God, have I become a tree?
Quickly, Intollerance runs over to one of the trees, snaps off some branches, and brings them back to decorate that with.
She's like, she starts running towards whatever our destination is in that direction. She's like, I'm not a tree, I'm not a tree, I'm not a tree.
And that, as you are running ahead of the group now, trying to get away from Intollerance in these tree branches, you quickly, as you're running, you catch something out of the corner of your eye.
I stop instinctually.
Do you turn towards it?
Yes, fully.
Roll me a presence.
10.
Okay. It's gotten very dark at this point. It was about midday when you had left, and now it is starting to ease into the evening with the cold and with the ice and with the storm that is kind of blowing in. Although it is travelable, that's even a word. Even though you can travel through it, you look, and there's one shadow, two. Is that a third? You're not sure. But they're off in the distance.
I start walking backwards, keeping my front towards them, but trying to rejoin the group.
And as you start to step backwards, maybe it's the wind, maybe it's just your perception because you're not quite sure where you are or what's happening at the moment, but are they getting closer? Are they following you? You make it back to the party.
And I point forward just to draw everyone's attention.
I look.
Same.
All right, those who are looking, roll me presence.
Oh.
Schlars just distracted by
Yeah.
something else.
18.
8.
All right. And what'd you get, Intollerance?
8.
8. All right. So for the 18 was P.A.M? All right. So P.A.M, as you're kind of just taking in the scene and just, traveling along, and Vat comes back to you and points, you immediately look in that direction and you distinctly see 4 figures in the distance. Can't make out shapes quite yet. They're still a little bit far away, and with the wind and with the visibility, you can't really see exactly what they are, especially because it's dark, but you distinctly see 4 shapes in the distance. And it looks like they are getting closer.
Okay.
Can I use a sleight of hand to attach one of the branches to that?
Yeah, in this moment, roll me agility.
15.
All right. So with a 15, in Vat's kind of standing there, you're distracted by what you've seen. You're kind of like not really paying attention. With your, although you have a +2 correctly in your presence. You almost you think it might be something that's touching you, but you just kind of wave it off as though it's just the wind. And successfully, Intollerance has put like 2 tree branches in the back of your cloak to kind of like come out almost like looking like antlers behind your head.
Absolutely. Yeah, my hair definitely is like so matted in the back.
Yeah.
Like they're there, but I'm like, that's strange.
You just think like your hair just got heavier for some reason because it's now wet. Perfect. Yeah, you successfully have attached the branches to Vat, and so now these figures are ever coming closer. And are you all still standing there?
While
Have I seen them yet? With my
No, the only person that's seen them so far can make them out as P.A.M.
So, upon seeing these figures, and they are approaching, P.A.M will take his bow from where it's latched onto, but just hold it at his side and look over to Schlars. Be ready.
Schlars draws his sword and holds it down at the side, and it, in the light, glows golden slightly, has a slight golden shimmer. What do you see?
4 figures. Not sure if hostile. Be ready. And that will be issued, as well as a warning to both Intollerance and Vat as well.
And with that,
and P.A.M will slowly shamble forward.
Sure. And as you start to shamble forward and they are coming towards you, you can start to make out now as they move almost in like a semicircle ring to approach the group. You see these 4 ghastly figures, somewhat translucent, but they have massive, some of them, spiraling horns upwards like ibex, in long, very like exaggerated featured faces that you, is it bone or is it just fleshy skin? You're not sure the composite makeup, but they are very uncomfortably like long and spindly. And one of them that has just one giant antler that spirals up from their head, the one that's in the center, extends his hand out towards you. And immediately they all start rushing in. And I want P.A.M to roll the initiative.
Oh, okay.
So it's a D6. Initiative is just a D6. You're the only one going to roll it. On a 1 to a 3, the enemies will begin. And on a 4 to a 6, you will all begin. And we'll just take turns. Whoever wants to it's very much a cinematic. There's no turn base here. Everyone's going to go, and then everyone can go again.
Perfect. Okay, so this is agility plus a D6?
Yes. No, this is a combat initiative. So what you're going to do is just roll a D6. Right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. 4.
Okay, so you all are all gonna go first. You get the jump on this group. P.A.M, I'm gonna let you be the first person to take action since you're at the front. And then what you'll do is when you're off on your turn, you can bump it to whoever you would like. Or if somebody wants to interject and kind of springboard off what you do, that's how we'll determine who goes next in combat. But you get the first move. These creatures are probably about maybe 10 feet from you right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you can clearly see that there's one with one giant antler, the one that first started rushing. There's one that has 2 stubs, like shaved off antlers. Mm-hmm. There's one that has 2 full antlers, and then there's one that has 3. So that's kind of how we'll decide who's kind of fighting who.
Okay, I'm
so
going
one
to...
1 antler, 2 stubs, 2 antlers, and 3 antlers.
3 antlers, got it. And the one with the 1 antler is rushing towards me right now.
Yes, he's the one that is rushing you first.
Does it look like full speed?
It just looks like almost like a jog. Like they have kind of come in enough of a contact with you that they are rushing you, but
they are
not
rushing
like a
me.
sprint.
Got it. Okay. Then in that case, P.A.M is just going to take the knife out.
Mm-hmm.
If I need to drop the bow, that's fine too. But just hold the knife straight ahead and stand firm and pretty much just hold the ground at that point.
Okay, so we're gonna say for the sake of this, you're holding your action.
Yes, there you go. Thank you.
Perfect. Not a problem. So I'll say that like you can still hold the bow. I'll say you had enough time to kind of sling it back up on your shoulder and take out your knife and take this defensive stance for sure.
Great.
We'll hold kind of what you're doing at the moment. Who do you want to pass it off to?
If anyone has any ideas, okay, great. Yeah, I'll pass it over to the vet.
Vat sees you sort of like hold your ground, and she says, wait, and she runs forward and pulls out her scroll in her pocket. And I would like to cast Eyelid Blinds the Mind.
Okay. So with powers in this game, what you're going to do is you're going to roll a presence check. You need to beat a DR 12 to be able to cast the spell.
I would like to use one of my omens to roll it again.
Absolutely. Sure thing. And for everybody watching at home, omens are kind of like our reroll tokens. You get a certain amount at the beginning of the session, and those can be used for a varying amount of things. One of them is to do a reroll.
It's worse.
What's the total roll? Okay, so you get ready and you try to summon this spell scroll, and as you concentrate, it falls to ash in your fingers. And as it falls to ash, you see this outward kind of expanse of a gust of wind. And Does anybody currently have their lantern lit? No? Nobody lit their
Well,
lantern?
I guess, I mean, if it was getting dark, I would have
Entirely up
probably
to
lit
you.
my lantern.
Okay. So as it falls to ash, the ash kind of like disperses outwards in a very like heavy gust and blows out the flame of your lantern. And unfortunately, you have wasted your spell scroll and
Yikes,
thus
on
ending your
bikes.
turn.
It's okay. It
Who
was
would
a
you like
long
to
shot.
set it off to?
Intolerance or Schlars, if you, either one of you.
You can go ahead, Intolerance.
All right, Intolerance, what would you like to do in these moments? They're starting to approach a little bit closer. They're about 10 feet from you, and they're about a semicircle, trying to kind of hoard the group together in one location.
They're trying to flank us.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, I'm looking at my character sheet again just to make sure there's like not anything cool and extra I can do.
No worries. You do see now as they do start to approach and the wind is kind of racing and things are moving quite fast. You see that they have these horns and these elongated faces, but their bodies are very much translucent. What would you like to do?
Honestly, I think that I'm gonna try to poke one of them with my staff, not in like a damage intent way, but just to see if they're really there.
Okay, absolutely. Roll me, let's see. Roll me strength. Just to see if you can jab hard enough to figure out what this is as you kind of run up to it. Which one are you running up to? There's 4 different ones. Do you want to run up to the one that's approaching P.A.M, or would you like to pick a different one?
I mean, I'm picturing that like I'm right like adjacent to P.A.M.
Perfect, okay.
So I just like poke out past P.A.M. with my staff. Like,
Okay.
Hey, are you there?
All right, cool, absolutely.
Unfortunately, I rolled a total of 8.
Okay, 8 is still enough for you to kind of discern like the hardness of this creature, whether it's corporeal or not. And it does find purchase in something. It's kind of like going through, I would say, like pudding, where it's like it's soft and the staff pushes into it, but it's like you could tell there's something there. It is real. And you have this very real recollective moment of, oh shit, something is here.
I stumble back and I'm like, Jonathan!
And we'll move on over to Schlars. Schlars, what would you like to do?
Schlars had St. Britta's Purging Sword at the ready, and he takes notice that they're rather translucent. Would I be able to tell at a glance that they're undead?
At a glance, I will say that you are extremely familiar with undead creatures. These are somewhat undead. Yes, they are in a state of purgatory.
Okay, so as he steps forward to the, we'll say the one with stubby horns. You did say there was one with that, right? Okay. He swings from the waist upward to the shoulder. Send you back to your grave. And,
yeah, absolutely.
And since that's the St. Britta's Purging Sword, that would actually be double damage.
Perfect. Oh my gosh. What does it look like as you eviscerate this Tundra Wraith?
So, cutting it from the waist up to its shoulder, as the blade makes connection with the spiritual essence, it shines bright gold and kind of shimmers up and down the blade as it runs through the body, cutting it in 2.
I love it. And as you do, you eviscerate it. And as it kind of wilts and dies, you see that it almost melts away with the wind in the snow and just slowly starts to dissipate and be one with the wind. And it is no longer there. The one with the stubby horns is gone. So you are left with 1 antler, 2 antlers, and 3 antlers. And now it is the Tundra Wraith's turn. And as they see Schlars eviscerate one of its members with this shiny golden sword, they all turn and start to gravitate towards Schlars. And one of them is going to reach out, the one with 2 antlers is going to reach out and try to touch him. I need you to roll me agility. Mm-hmm.
Is this defense agility or just regular agility?
Just, this is defense agility.
Okay.
Yes.
It's asking me for enemy damage. Is that normal?
Just roll normal agility.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, just no normal agility.
Okay. Got an 11.
Okay, so with an 11, you barely kind of skitter by its hand as it reaches out towards you, but it does brush its shoulder, your shoulder, and with that, you are left with this touch of almost icy hot burn as some of you are not alive, however, you hold warmth in your bones as some of the essence of the warmth of your bones is taken, and now it's just cracked and a little bit more brittle as it pulls away. And you can see as it pulls away and takes just this tiny bit of your warmth, it's going to take 1 hit point of damage.
Okay, and I assume that bypasses armor and shield?
Yes, this is going to bypass armor and shield because it is slightly incorporeal. It's going to absorb it, and you see that its fingertips start to manifest into like actual flesh-colored fingertips. And then the one with the 3 horns, that one is going to be closest to Vat. And that one's going to try out and touch Vat as well. Vat, can you please roll me an agility?
Yes. 2.
So unfortunately, you were kind of like you're just kind of standing there unaware of like what these creatures are, what they're trying to do, or what's going on. And this one grabs you like right around the wrist, right around the forearm. It's going to take 1 HP of damage from you, and the same thing happens. You see its fingertips, as it's still gripped onto you, are starting to form into fleshy bits of a hand. And the last one that is right in front of P.A.M with the 1 antler is going to try and do the same. P.A.M, roll me agility.
I am good at this. 15,
you bypass. So it goes, you kind of slip, understanding now as you're seeing these things happen, as they are all forming around you, you understand what could happen next, and you dip right out of its hand, and it kind of goes right over your shoulder by your ears. You look, and its hand just kind of coils back.
And what does my held action?
If you want to do your held action before the next turns of everybody, absolutely.
Perfect. So the hand goes whizzing past the ear, and that knife is gonna come right into it, into like the elbow joint on the inside as they retreat back.
Perfect. Roll me that attack.
Attack. That is strength, right?
Yes.
That is a fumble. That is a natural 1.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
You do have omens. I will just say
yeah, that's true. I will omen. I will omen it up.
Okay.
Nice. Use it.
So instead of it being a critical failure, it's just going to be a failure. So unfortunately, you try to stab it right in that elbow joint, but it is just a little bit too fast and pulls it, and you kind of whiff on that stab. And it just it stands in front of you, and it almost, now you see its eyes start to glow a little bit with this like whitish blue light. And if this thing could have facial expressions, it would be kind of taunting you. It's almost taunting you in this moment.
Okay.
And we're gonna go back to the party. Who would like to kick us off with the second round of initiative?
I guess I will.
All
As
right.
it's
Nobody else
full.
wants to.
All right, Schlars.
Okay. As I'm coming around from that slash that I just did on that stub-horned one, I snap my bony fingers and yell, "Lork!" and I point toward the two-horned one, and then I swing for the one that went for P.A.M.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh.
so that's the other thing with the Purging Sword. I hit on DR10,
Yep.
so I guess that'd still be a hit.
Yes, it would.
All right, and that'll only be 2 damage though.
All right. So you are going for the one with how many antlers?
I swung for the one that went for P.A.M, so I guess.
One
Okay,
antler.
so one antler. Perfect.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So as you come across and you swing at them, you kind of hit them almost like where their rib cage would be as you're coming off the side of their interaction. And you see that as you rip into it, it's almost like slush, like dirty, nasty New York City street slush kind of just gets cut off from this creature and flies with your sword swing. And you just see that there's this hole now, almost like the billowing and the translucentness of this creature is still there, but there's just a trunk missing. There's like half of its chunk is missing.
Okay.
And it kind of looks over towards you, and now it's giving you kind of like that taunting look, but it's more like anger. It's livid at you.
As it gives me that look, I go, "You are the reason why I was brought back. Cut you down." And for Lork, do I roll for him or do you roll for him?
If you want him to be part, yes, absolutely. If you want him to attack, by all means.
Okay. I'll just roll regular strength. Looks. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
The stub-horned one,
Mm.
and he's D4. Two.
Perfect.
Nice.
Are you going after the same one that you just hit?
No, he's going after the stub-horned one.
Stubhorn
Or the
is dead. We have 2 antlers and 3 antlers that haven't
2
been
antlers.
hit yet.
Sorry.
2 antlers?
Meant to say
No
2
problem.
antlers, yeah.
So as Lark kind of comes around and starts to attack the one on the right side of the party, the one that's going to have the 2 antlers, you see that the dog kind of like bites up and onto where like its feet would be and tears at it. And once again, like the slush, it just falls off the creature, and now it's just kind of like hacked off at the knees and still kind of like hovering in the air. It looks very hurt though. They look very hurt.
Mm. At seeing that like the dog actually did damage and it wasn't just the magic sword and like everyone's actually getting hits in, I then just step forward and take a whack at the one that I poked.
All right, perfect. So the one with the 1 antler that's still in combat with you and P.A.M, for sure. Go and roll me that strength.
11 plus 2, so 13.
Yeah, that hits. That hits. Roll that beautiful damage.
Alright, that's just
Nice.
a D4. And I rolled a 1.
1 for damage.
Something.
Yeah.
Still damage. Still damage. Still looking hurt. So
Can my dog also attack?
yes, your dog gets an attack as well. So as you come in, and are you hitting it with your staff? Are you slashing with the staff? How?
I am like slashing at the same arm that P.A.M tried to stab.
Perfect. Absolutely. So while you kind of hack down at it, right like on its shoulder, kind of like that joint right there, and you see it kind of cleave and dislocate that shoulder off. And as it dislocates, it turns to slush and falls over. And it is now armless and missing a massive chunk off of its side. It's barely hanging on at this point.
And do I just roll another
Yep, you're gonna do the
DR
same
test
thing.
for the dog?
Yep.
Alright, cool. Let's see what the dog rolls. Ooh, yeah, no, the dog's not gonna hit. That's a 4.
Yeah, unfortunately, the dog kind of like tries to bite at the side that's already kind of like missing a chunk out of it, and it moves just the tiniest bit, and the dog kind of chomps down on just cold air. And we'll move towards either P.A.M. or Vat.
Vat is very upset that this thing is still touching her. So she takes the sword off her belt. She doesn't have a sheath for it. It's just out there. She grabs it and she tries to hack at the arm.
Of the same one? The one with the one antler?
The one that's touching me, I think, is the 3 antlers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm gonna use an omen.
Okay.
That would have been
By all means, reroll.
That would have been a 0.
Ooh.
15.
Yes, absolutely. That hits. Roll me that damage.
All right.
A beautiful sword damage.
It's a D6.
Mm-hmm.
Free 3.
All right. So
Nice.
you, with your frustration and everything you have behind you, you swing once, and you just can't make purchase. However, you find that spark, that dirty spark that you have inside of you, to come back and swing again for a second try. And this time you make purchase, and you make a heavy purchase. You strike through its chest, and you just see as, like, if it could spill the contents of what was inside it, if anything was inside of it, it would. However, you just make this massive gash across its chest, and slush flies everywhere. And this thing, the light starts to dim from its eyes, and it is barely hanging there. You see that you have almost stopped it in its track, and it is just kind of lulling, barely hanging on.
I would like one of my bats to try to finish it off.
Sure thing.
They do.
Bats.
Everyone's got
That's
pets.
best.
I got bread.
You have bread. You have delicious and unsettling bread.
Yeah, you have
I've got
weird
animal
creepy
companions,
bread.
and I've got
It's delicious,
bread.
though. It's
Okay,
delicious.
they're gonna go ahead and bite. So that's just a D20. They rolled a 3.
Yeah, unfortunately, they'll start to skitter around this creature, but because of its nature and because the bats, like, they're really good on perception, they can pick it up, but they just, their mouths are too small to make quite a purchase onto the creature at the moment. Even though it's in this wearied state, they're just kind of more
Absolutely.
fluttering around its head, trying to annoy it more so than
Yeah.
attack it.
Yeah.
Because they
Very
don't
good.
listen to you. Your bats don't listen to you.
No. They ignore, but they love.
Yeah, they ignore you, but they love you. So they're just they're gonna be a nuisance to this 3-horned wraith. And we'll kick it back on out with the end of the initiative order with P.A.M.'s turn.
Yes, P.A.M. is instinct kicks in, not knowing what is telling him to do this. He slides very, very unnaturally fast to the weak side, the armless side of the one-horned tundra wraith, you said?
Mhm. Yep.
And just quick slashes with the knife.
Cool.
Very, very very efficient. That is a 9.
Yeah, unfortunately, with a 9, you try to swing and you can't make purchase. You moved on to the side where you thought you'd have an advantage, but unfortunately, the distance and the discrepancy of how far you'd have to reach to hit it, you just can't make it. You swing wide.
There's that hole, and it's in the hole.
Yeah, it just goes right through that hole again, and you're like, God damn it. All right, and we're gonna kick it off with the wraiths. The one with the one antler is going to immediately respond to you and try to come out and touch you again. Can you make me an agility test?
P.A.M.?
Yes, P.A.M.
Oh, okay. 10 total.
With a 10, you dip out of its way just barely. You see that it is kind of skidded past. It tried to grab your chest and kind of like paw at you where your heart would be if you were technically alive. And it just kind of like just fingertips, those corporeal fingertips, you feel them just brush against you very quickly, but you back up with just an inch, and it's still there within combat. And it once again gives you that taunting look. as we slide on over the one with the 2 antlers. And that one is in combat with Schlars, if I'm not mistaken.
Or Lork. Well, either or both.
Yeah, I think the 2, I think between both of you, that one would go for you. And Schlars, make me an agility test as well.
While that's rolling, I just want to respond the taunting with just a blank stare. Just
perfect.
That's it.
I think I'm going to use an omen.
Cool.
To re-roll
Absolutely.
That, since I have no defense against. Well, that's not much better. I'll take the hit then.
All right. So yes, unfortunately, it's going to touch you, and with that touch, damn, I'm rolling a lot of ones. This is the worst die ever. That's just another 1 HP. That is 1 HP that you lose. And once again, it's gonna kind of like hold your hand. The one that's holding the sword is gonna reach out and kind of hold that hand, and you see part of your bones start to become like this dulled gray color. They're losing their warmth as the hand now starts to become more corporeal and is extremely fleshy on this weird translucent creature.
Question. Are the fingers interlocking?
No, it's just kind of like the thing is holding, and it's just its hand is like over it. Unfortunately, he's already holding something, so he couldn't really make his hands in there to hold it.
Mm-mm.
And then the one with the 3 horns, which is in combat with that and her bats, it's gonna actually try to reach up and touch your bats. I want you to make an agility check for your bats.
All right.
It's gonna try and swat them away because they are also a source of warmth.
Do your bats have names?
I think they used to.
I think they did. I don't remember.
Off the top of my head. 9.
Do they get any sort of bonuses?
I don't think so.
Okay.
They're very, very basic.
Just very basic. No worries. All right. So with that, it is actually going to grip a hold of one of them and catch it sort of, or like it right out of thin air. It catches it. And it's going to do 2 hit points of damage to your bat.
Oof. Okay. That's all right.
Oh,
Still
right.
up.
So you see as it holds on to this bat, its wings are starting to now kind of crumple and lose some of that warmth and become very brittle. And it's almost like you see their wings lose some of their color, become very gray and charcoal, and almost become like tissue paper. They're very thin and brittle. And it's going to take those 2 hit points. And now you see that hand is starting to become corporeal and starting to actually become real flesh.
And I call out, I say, Hingus! That bat's name is Hingus.
Hingus. All right, and we are back on to the party. Who would like to respond first?
I'll go.
All right. Schlars, what would you do?
Okay, as this one grabbed my bones again, blasted rays, I'll put you down. And I swing again with St. British Pershing sword.
Nice.
10 damage.
Wonderful. And which one were you hinting? The one with the 2 antlers?
2 antlers.
Perfect. Tell me how you eviscerate this one.
So, it grabbed me by the, I guess you said shoulder, right?
No, it was grabbing your hand of which the sword was on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just twist my arm out of its grip and just spear it straight through the chest. And the same thing happens. The blade shimmers up and down it, golden.
Perfect. And with this, you see that for a moment, the creature actually looks relieved as the gold is warm. The divine energy, the spark is warm, and it looks happy to die and to meet the shimmering fields as it falls to sludge all around your sword and onto the ground. There are only 2 left. The 1-horned antler one, which is in contact with P.A.M. and Intollerance, and then the 3-horned one, which is in contact with Vat.
I would like to... Oh, sorry. Is
I was
Schlars
just gonna
turn
say
over?
Mork was gonna assist Vat, that's all.
Okay.
Sure, yeah, if you want your dog to run over and help Vat, absolutely make that attack.
Nice.
Oh, unfortunately.
No.
Yeah, so you kind of, in that moment, you send your dog off and the dog starts to run, but the sludge that Vat had kind of chopped off the creature was just a little bit too much, and the dog slides past the creature a little bit and tries to bite while it's sliding and just can't make purchase. It's moving just a little bit too chaotically.
Nice
And we'll
try.
move to Intolerance. What would you like to do?
After seeing how my staff took an arm off, essentially, I'm just like, ooh, then try to hit it in the head the same way.
Sure.
That's another 11 plus 2 for 13.
Yeah, roll me that damage.
Nice.
This time I rolled a 3.
Perfect. Tell me how you eviscerate this one.
I'm just like, after seeing how malleable they are, I'm literally using my great strength of plus 2 to bury it down as deep as I can and see how far I can get into cutting it in half with a stick.
Okay. Yeah, so you try to make purchase with the head and kind of cleave it all the way down. And in its very extremely weakened state, you see that as soon as you make purchase on the head and hit it, it starts to do that slush thing, but you carry all the way through and it just falls apart into slush in 2 pieces, and your stick completely goes through and it falls to the ground as just this pile of slush is all around it.
Oof.
And then my dog is also going to go try to help that.
All right, make an attack.
That's another 11
All right.
on the die. The dogs don't get a plus or
They
anything,
don't.
do they?
No, they don't. And unfortunately, that is just under what it needs to make purchase with the creature. So it's going to do the same thing. It's going to run and slip on that sludge and almost fall in tow with Lark. And just kind of, they're both going to do that bite as it runs past and just can't make purchase. There's not much of that creature left.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Bat or P.A.M?
I'm gonna hack and slash.
All
Gonna
right.
try one more time. She's
One
not
more
very
time.
good with the sword, but
Let's go.
Oh, buddy. 9.
Oh.
All
Okay.
right, and with a 9, unfortunately, one more time you try to swing, and the sword is new to you. It's a little bit heavy. It's heavier than the tools that you usually use for your cultism. And once again, you try to swing wildly, and it goes through a piece that is already missing from the creature. However, you still have your bats.
Yes. Tringus, which is the other one, Hingus and Tringus.
I love it.
Tringus is gonna attack for in the name of Hingus and not make contact at all.
It is all good. Your bats, once again, they love you, but they don't want to listen to a freaking word you say. So it actually is going to pry the other bat out of the hand of the tundra wraith that it's holding, and it's just going to fly around its head once again and try to annoy it. P.A.M, what would you like to do?
It's just the 2-antler one that's left, right?
Or the 3-horned.
Sorry, 3-horned, yes.
Yeah,
3-horned.
just that one.
Okay.
And it's looking extremely weak.
And then in that case, P.A.M is going to draw the bow, get into a position where the arrow won't hit Vat if the arrow ends up going through,
Sure.
and just fire off an arrow.
Absolutely.
It's another fumble, so I'm gonna have to omen that.
Okay. No worries. So no catastrophic cataclysm happens. It is just a fail. But what I'm gonna say happens is while you're trying to make your way to Vat, you just slip on some of this slush and fall face first, prone into the snow.
Yeah.
And at this point, this last wraith is going to kind of see what's going on. It sees these bats. It is extremely weakened, and it is going to retreat.
Actually, can I use one of my daily powers to actually try to use my add or subtract a d6 to any morale check? And
Absolutely.
I want it to pass the morale check so we can kill it.
All right.
Oh,
So
that's
in
only
that-
a +1. That's only a +1.
I'll still say for the sake of it, what it's gonna do is it's gonna if it could kneel, this creature's going to kneel. And it's going to put up whatever hand, so one corporeal hand and one very translucent hand. It's going to put them up, and it's going to bow in front of all of you. What do you respond with? What do you do?
Point down at it with my sword drawn. You will flee. You will flee to the ends of Kergus to never be seen again.
At that point, I take my staff and swing down at it.
Okay, roll me an attack.
I knew these attacks were going to stop at some point. I just got an 8.
All right, no worries. Yeah, as Schlars is giving it this instruction, it looks up, and in its extremely weakened and feeble state, it will nod and starts to shuffle back on its legs, like in this pathetic, pitiful, like scrambling motion, right as you bring your staff down, and it lands inches from this thing's nose. It knows that it needs to leave, and you see it kind of sink into the snow, and it's gone.
Nice.
And I think that is a great place where we're going to take our little break.
All right.
So we're going to take a quick break, everybody. Stay in your seats. Stay right here. We've got another hour left of this to go. If you can, donate, ! Donate. Let's get those numbers up.
Hydrate.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see y'all in about.
Yes.
Yes. Hydrate, stretch, do whatever you need to do. Grab a snack. I don't know, put on some spooky music in a costume if you want to join us.
Yay!
And we'll be back in a few minutes, everybody. welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us through that break. We're gonna dive right back into it. Right before the break, the party started to traverse the lands of Kergus and ran into a party of tundra wraiths, which they had pretty much all exterminated except for one who weakly surrendered to the party and was told to flee by Schlars. As it was told to flee, it kind of melted into the snow and was no longer seen again. And we are left with the party in the middle of the land. You were about maybe 3/4 of the way there. You're very close. It is pretty much the dawn of the next day at this point between this battle and you guys carrying forth. What would you like to do on the last stretch of this journey as you are now approaching? And as you approach, you're kind of going more at an incline this time, and you can see as you kind of approach a hill that right down the slope you see this little makeshift town. You see a couple blips of light coming through it. It's about maybe another hour.
Okay, I, at this point, light up my lantern and attach it to my staff so it's like at the top of it.
Cool.
So like as I'm moving it forward, it's kind of lighting the path for everyone at the same time.
Okay. Cool. All right. And
Shall we
we
make
traverse on with Intollerance. Are you leading the charge now since you have the light?
I'm seeing how heavily armored Schlars is, so I'm kind of like taking a step behind Schlars, but like very close to the front, like basically in step with Schlars, if not like half a step back.
Okay, cool. All right. We traverse on.
Yes, as we crest over this hill and we start going downhill, that Hingus and Tringus, the bats, I think land onto the tree branches that are sticking out behind her. And it's a sensation of weight that she's never felt before. So with heavy caution, she brings one of her hands up and touches it, like one of the branches, and she feels the wood. And with another shaking hand, she brings the other one up and she touches the other one. And she starts to feel, and she has this like out of body experience for a second because she can't see them. So she knows that they're made of wood, but they're very antler like. So she stands there, she stops moving, and she says, "Intollerance? I turned into a wraith."
Would you want me to kill you?
No, don't kill me, but I have antlers now.
That's interesting.
What do I do?
I think you just leave them there, right?
I don't know. Can you take them off?
No, they seem stuck pretty good as I push them in a little bit more.
She's like just panicking, full panic, but has not made the connection that they're actually just tree branches. I think she fully believes that when that wraith touched her, it imbued her with she's now part wraith. And she has sprouted antlers.
All right.
Pam's gonna just sort of walk up, and if you allow, touch your forehead with the back of his hand, and you feel it is cold, almost icy, and lowers the hand. You are still warm, not cold, not wraith. And will turn promptly away from you and continue following Schlars, who is leading.
She like puts her hands up to her face and is like, It's colder because she's outside in the cold, so she's got this little bit of doubt. She's like, I don't know, maybe
Still alive.
Lars does like a 180 pivot, turns back to Vat, walks up to her, takes out one of the branches, puts it in front of her, points at it. You are still among the living, Vat.
she reaches up and yanks the other one out of her and holds it in front of her and is like, who did this? Which one of you?
I think they just grew like that.
Your hate for trees sprouted them from your back. It's punishment.
I'm punished? But
I mean, we're all punished.
But what have the trees ever done for the world? She throws the branch down on the ground and puts her hands in her hair and just checks and makes sure that there's no other things in it, and it's just having an absolute existential crisis because she's just thinking of how I can't remember the god's name, but the big
Nechrubel.
Nechrubel, yeah. I was just thinking of how could Nechrubel punish her for anything when she has done nothing but hate the trees for him.
I love it. And at this point, you've all been kind of walking and traversing while this is all happening too, and you are about right now at the town, and you come and you approach this town. It is very dingy. It's kind of like a shanty town in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing really else around. There's maybe about 4 or 5 buildings, and in the center of it you see a large bonfire that seems to be, very tall, set ablaze, and there are people running around. But as you enter the town, you see tons of children. Tons and tons of children. And this is something that not many of you have ever seen, because you're familiar that there are children thieves that run amok, especially in Kergus, especially in these wastes. They transport them to and fro. So it's off-putting. It's uncomfortable. And as you kind of look around and you realize that the town is a shanty town, but it's calm. People are interacting very kindly. There is a sense of almost warmth, not only from the bonfire, but just from the camaraderie that you see as you walk into this town.
Do these children, the town's children, do they look healthy? Do they look hungry? Do they look dirty? They're
dirty. They definitely are dirty, but they seem happy. The kids are interacting. They're kind of just in little small groups. They're not running around and playing and laughing like kids on a playground, but they're in small cloistered little groups. You see them kind of playing with these makeshift toys made out of wood, and some of them are actually made out of ice and snow, that you see them kind of making, and then they hold together and it melts, and you see the kids kind of giggle, and they're just trying to create these little cloistered groups. You see, but they look healthy, they look happy.
P.A.M is going to make more of this bread, more of this manna. Do I need to roll for that or anything?
You can just make it.
Okay, cool.
So you make the max amount.
Max amount? Okay, then I'm going to get, what does it say? 6. I'm going to go to a group of 6 of them and just kind of treat.
And you see them just, every single one of them grab one out of your hands and they start shoving it in their mouths, and they're giggling, and they're all just kind of giddy over each other, and they look at you and they kind of whisper to each other, and then they look back at you and they start nodding as a thank you. They don't talk, which is a little bit off-putting, but they're nodding and they're giggling, and they go back to eating and kind of playing with their toys.
I'm just gonna pause there as they just kind of disperse, and then rejoin the party.
And as you rejoin the party, you see now that you've interacted with these kids, there is a very, very tall humanoid that starts to approach the group. And as you all kind of look towards this figure, you see a very tall and slender humanoid with the slight complexion of snow. She almost blends in. She stands over 7 feet tall and has 6 eyes that arrange themselves around from her temples to her forehead in the semicircle pattern.
Giant woman.
And they are as blue as the sky was before the end had come. It is a color rarely ever seen. It is a beautiful, awe-striking color. She's adorned with horns of a deer on top of a giant headdress on top of her head, which for a second puts you off because you're like, is this another wraith? But nobody's worried. The people who pass, and as she passes to approach you, nobody's scared. You can see that she's adorned head to foot with these lavish furs, some of the nicest quality furs you've ever seen, which is so uncomfortable for you all because they live in the middle of nowhere. She's got stone trinkets and hooves of beasts that are adorning her, and she's got the skulls of small creatures that are strung with sinew around her neck. She comes and she approaches the party. Can I help you?
Are you among the Third Dominion?
One more time.
Are you of the Third Dominion?
She kind of thinks for a moment and cocks her head, and you see this large headdress kind of go with her, and she brings it upright. No.
What?
Go
ahead.
I am Thera. Can I help you?
Know of the toy maker?
Begavit, the toy maker, yes. Is he okay?
He sent us.
Oh, so he is okay.
Yes.
He sent you.
No. Everyone says yes. Pam's gonna say no.
She looks towards P.A.M. No, he did not send you.
Caged.
Yes, he's alive. Yes, he's in a dungeon.
Oh, okay. Well, what did he send you for, if he's not here himself?
Well, have you heard of these obsidian seekers?
She thinks, and you see her tapping, and all of her eyes blink at like random times. They don't blink together.
Gosh,
you see
so
that
cool.
she's thinking.
I love her.
As this
Yes.
is going on, I'm stepping back very slowly, so I'm at the back of the party holding the lantern.
Okay. Yes. The impure ones, the disturbed ones. Yes. They came here about 3 days ago. 4, maybe 5. Why? Do you seek obsidian too?
Exterminate.
Oh. And she starts to put the pieces together now. He's in a dungeon. You've come to find them. Are you Inquisitors?
Yes.
And she starts to like reverently bow to you all. Oh, thank you. I was wondering if they would be caught. How can I be of service? I can tell you what I know.
Yes. So you said that they were here 4 or 5 days ago.
Yes. They were asking for obsidian, and I know that there is nothing like that here. It is the barren wastes of Kergus. It is frozen. It is cold. I don't know why they would be seeking that here. Something tells me it was not right. They tried to impart their cult-like things onto us. They tried to make us believe that the end could be reversed, and we had to throw them out. It was wrong. It was wrong. And you see her eyes start blinking again in like these crazy fashion. They left things here. They wanted us to use them, but we dare not touch it. We dare not touch it. No.
See it?
Sure. Come. And you see she slowly kind of turns and starts to walk towards almost like a wigwam. It's this very makeshift with furs and skin, and you see there's some bone and sinew that holds everything together. Everything in this town, as you're looking around, is made with animal parts. Everything. There is no
So
wood
cool.
really sturdy enough to hold anything around here.
There's no wood.
There's no wood.
Very cool.
So you go into this big wigwam-shaped structure that is domed, and she leads you inside, and it's just tall enough for her to go inside. So you assume that this is her abode. And she leads you inside, and there's a bonfire in there, and you see that along all of the walls are these herbs and spices and things that you would not imagine would be out here, but they are. And they're all on these drying racks, and in the center of the room there's a table with 2 items sitting on it. Here. I don't dare touch, but you may if you so wish.
Can I take
There's
a
a
visual look at them?
Yeah, so as you walk up, it's a scroll and a necklace.
Is the scroll open? Can I see what it is?
No, but you could easily open it.
All right, I unroll it.
Okay. So you unroll this scroll. It's neatly kind of like rolled, but there is a black ink blot, like a wax seal, but it's just like this heavy ink blot. It's not even a wax seal. That just kind of congeals it together to make it somewhat stick. And you kind of rip that open and unfurl it, and it is a spell scroll.
Mm-hmm.
And it reads, Jingle's foot fetish. The user imbues themselves with invisibility for D4 rounds. However, every time they take a step, jingle bells will chime in a 5-foot area around them.
Oh, jingle.
I
Yeah,
want
foot
it.
fetish.
I want it so bad. I want it. It's mine. It's mine. I'm
If you
holding
pick it up,
It's
you're more
mine.
than welcome to pocket it.
I'm pocketing it.
All right. And there, she goes, you are quite brave. Okay. At least I know that it won't melt you when you touch it. And she kind of like ushers for somebody to grab the necklace or like go and inspect what the necklace is.
Lars steps forward to inspect the necklace. He just holds it up in front of his face. Does it appear to be made from obsidian?
No, the amulet itself is not made out of obsidian. It is made of iron. It is like a big, almost like a huge locket. It's about this big on the wearer's neck. But as you touch it, as part of being an inquisitor, you have a varying array of knowledge of many things within the world of Felland, and you recognize this as an amulet of the Wisher's wanting will. So you immediately kind of touch it and you fumble with it and you're like, I know what this is. And you realize that it's a locket that opens to display a compass that will endlessly circle around until you decide something that you are looking for. Once you decide what you are looking for, it sets on a fixed point, pointing towards where you want to go.
Ooh.
And she kind of, while you grab it and look it over, she goes, oh God, okay. All right, well, I hope you find these useful. I don't find anything useful, but is there anything else I can help with?
Thank you.
I
for
would
your
ask
time.
what direction they went in, but I guess we have that covered.
Oh, maybe not. I don't know. But if you are confident, then by all means.
Out of character, really quick.
Mhm.
Can I get you to post the scroll description and name in the chat real quick so I can just copy it?
Absolutely. Not a problem.
And Schlars will turn to Vat, holding out the locket. Vat, if you would be so kind, this may be yours. I feel you would wear it much better than I.
No. Schlars, such a sweet talker. My goodness. She takes it and she holds it She opens it up, and for the life of me, I cannot remember what the name of these people are. The third
communion.
The third communion.
Third communion. Okay. She opens it up and says, "Find the third communion."
And while you are saying this, it starts to spin endlessly and endlessly and endlessly. And once you finish communion, at the end of that N, it immediately picks a direction and it starts to point. And it is pointing east.
Have our headache.
I show it to Thera and I say, "Was east the direction that they went in?"
Yes, I do believe. And she like orients herself for a moment and she points. She says, yes, east, that direction. They left out of town. I don't know how far, but it can't be far. There's nothing much east of here, except the coast. It's about a couple hours.
Do you think that there might be any dangers on the way?
From here to the coast, no. If you take our trail, we have to go to the coast every other day to fetch water.
You've been most helpful, Thera.
Yes.
Thank you. I find myself privileged to be in the presence of Inquisitors. I promise we do not believe what they believe. And you see she starts to get a little nervous as her eyes start blinking.
We see your dedication.
Oh, thank you. Nechrubel, bless you all. May he spare you.
And
Bless you as well.
Bless you as well. And for your dedication, we shall put in good word for you with the Blood Countess to potentially release the Toy Maker.
Oh, thank you. Bagavid would be welcome back here. The children do love his toys. He keeps them very happy, you see. It would be most appreciated. Thank you.
Of course.
And she kind of takes a seat within her wigwam, and you are all left to leave if you would wish. All right.
Must rest my weary bones for a moment.
We can take a short break here as a party.
Short rest.
Short
Yeah.
rest.
Absolutely.
I don't need to, so I'm just going to sit there and pull out like a little stringed instrument and start playing it eerily. Yeah. Yes.
Perfect. All right. So we'll catch our breath here. So if everybody wants to heal D4 HP, by all means, you are more than welcome to roll it before we continue on.
I'm only missing 1 HP, so blessed.
Blast.
I
only heal 1.
don't require any HP, so I will spend the time making more bread and go up to what was giant
Thera.
woman's name?
Thera.
Thera. Give new children.
Yes.
I'm just kind of urging it onto her lap.
Thank you. And you see she kind of like takes each one of them and packages it like in like a little bit of this like dried hide, sort of as like just to preserve it basically. And she sets it aside for when she's going to disperse it. Thank you. The children will love these treats. Thank you.
They're delicious yet unsettling.
As long as they are delicious, the children can deal with unsettling. We live in Kergus, after all.
That's true. Yes.
Schlars will step up to her and take out his rations. As I am not of the living, you may disperse these as you wish.
Oh my gosh, you are so kind. A blessing upon blessing of Nechrubel today. Oh my god, thank you. Oh, and you see her also put it within like this preservation pouch that she's got the rest of it in, and just sitting there very much open and thankful to each and every one of you.
Party is useful.
And as Intollerance plays us a nice little diddly tune and we all regain some HP, I'm going to fast forward a little bit and say that we move on. We pass through this. It's about 2 hours to the coast. And as you are following this compass that you now have on your neck that is dictating where to go, you see now that as you are approaching the coast, it's getting rocky. It's getting very like jagged here, jagged there. It's getting a little bit weird to traverse as you reach the end of this kind of like makeshift path that they have created. And it opens up to a small inkling of like where the water would be, but it's frozen over. So you have to kind of traverse it and go around. And as you go around, roll me presence. Everybody can roll presence.
18.
Schlars got a 19.
21.
21.
1.
Oh no.
Natural
Okay.
1.
All right. Okay. So everybody but Intollerance immediately sees this. Intollerance, you actually like you're trying to reach up with the party because you're behind. You were behind and everybody started walking. So you just kind of stayed behind with the lantern guiding everyone forward. And you're trying to climb this rock. And unfortunately, you climb and you slip on this rock and you fall on your butt and almost like a slip and slide, you kind of slide in front of the entire party and bump into another rock. You don't lose any HP, but it's just uncomfortable and your butt kind of hurts now. But everybody else sees as this is kind of happening, you all look up and immediately you see jutting out from from underneath the ground almost. It looks like the spine of a creature that's been hollowed out. It kind of looks rocky and scaly, but if you look close enough, you're like, no, that used to be a body. That used to be a warm body. And inside of it, you see it is massive. It's probably about 15 feet wide, about 40 feet tall. It is huge. And from it, inside, you see a glow of some torchlight. And you can make out that this is probably a
four-legged creature.
What was that?
Does it look like it was a four-legged creature?
At one point, maybe, but half the body looks chopped off, so you can only assume that you can confirm that there was only 2 legs on this creature, but you assume maybe more. Just based on where the cut is and you're inspecting it a little bit, now that you're looking at it with the party.
Schlars reaches down to help Intollerance up.
Ah, thank you.
Yes.
All right, so as we approach this opening, what is everybody gonna do?
Schlars will have his shield and sword at the ready.
I'm still holding my staff. I'm going to hold the light away from the door and like peek in to see if I can see anyone in there.
Okay. So as you kind of hold your staff out and peek in, you see a circle of maybe 30, for a lack of a better term for you've never seen anything like this, but snow people.
Does it look like any of them are like in charge? Like, is there a leader to the group?
There's nothing moving. It's these statues of still snow people. They look humanoid. They look like they were made out of snow, but they're all in these weird positions of like half moving. Some of them are like tilted to the side. Some of them are hunched over. Some of them are leaning back like they had been like, ha, ha, ha. Like they're all in these weird positions, but they are made out of snow. And there's about 30 of them in a circle. And in the middle of the circle, you can see that there is a light shining down from just the light in the ceiling that's shining on something in the middle, but you can't see. There's too many of them.
I am going to...
Are you gonna jingle jangle?
Not yet.
Ugh.
I am going to pull out from a side pouch on my backpack a little baggie filled with caltraps. And just like sprinkle them across the front entrance and then start making a bunch of noise.
Okay. As you start making a bunch of noise, there is no response from any of these things, these beings. There's no response.
All right, fine. I'll pick my caltrops back up. Down on my hands and knees, finding them and putting them back in the bag.
I step over Intollerance into the cave as they are picking up things, because I pick up things off the ground all the time.
Mhm.
And I get a little bit closer towards the center shiny object.
As you are trying to move through these bodies, I need you to make me an agility test.
Oh, shit.
Yikes, a do. Okay. 14.
Oh.
Okay.
Nice.
14 is enough. And as you start to kind of weave your body, you've been in and around plants, you know how they ebb and how they move and flow when they are at their healthiest, even though there's not many healthy plants in this world. You kind of ebb and you flow and you kind of rip yourself away, almost dislocating. It looks very uncomfortable, but the way that you are moving through them is very dexterous. And you happen to make halfway through the grouping before you just kind of like have to stop and assess where you're going again. Do you continue forward?
I would like to look at the closest snow person more in detail.
Okay, roll me presence.
10.
Okay, so with a 10, you see that they are featureless in the face. They are all the same height. They are all the same featureless face, but they're all just posed in different positions. You can't tell if somebody made them or if there's something underneath and this is just frozen in time. It's very hard to make out with this, but they are, for a lack of a better term, in this moment, just a snow person. What are P.A.M. and Schlars doing in this moment?
What does the compass say?
Oh, I look at the compass.
The compass is pointing in the direction that you're going, towards the center of whatever this is.
Okay.
P.A.M. is absolutely just in there. I'm gonna touch and see if it's just snow, or is it like ice? It's you said it's snow, right?
Mm-hmm. So you touch this creature?
Yes.
As soon as you touch one of these creatures, it starts to wriggle. It starts to shake. And it starts to move. And from its face, you see a massive, massive mouth form that takes up half of its face. And you see one giant nostril puff out smoke, or snow rather, from where it was. And this giant maw unreaches itself.
Ooh.
It snaps. What do you do?
First of all, I say oops. And retreat back, draw with the knife.
And you see as you start to move
once again
back,
defensive. Yeah,
as soon as you start to move back, once you're approximately like maybe 5 feet away from this creature, you see it start to wriggle, and then all of a sudden, wherever it ends up wriggling, it stays frozen, and all the features start to freeze back over, and the snow starts to form back on its face.
Do not touch.
Okie dokie.
With the rest of the group, and takes up a defensive position.
Okay. So the only one in actually like walking into the group now is still Vat. Everybody else is staying around on the outside.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
she finds herself in
actually-
these situations quite frequently.
Make me one more agility test to see if you can reach the center of whatever they're protecting.
Oh, shit.
Okay. So
I'm out of omens, so.
That's totally okay. So what you end up doing is you start to move. There's maybe like I'll say three more rows. You get to the first one and you bypass it quickly, but you make a wrong step. And instead of turning one way, your body and your momentum fall into one of the creatures, knocking it over entirely, which starts to knock every single other one in the ring over. And all of a sudden, you start to see these wriggling and writhing creatures. These mouths start to open and start to unhinge. And however, you roll, I'll say you roll far enough to get between them to see that what you're looking for in the center is a ladder down.
Through the wriggling noise, I say, "It's a ladder. We go down."
And I will allow everybody to we'll do one full round and then we'll do 2 full rounds. I need everybody to make an agility test to see if you can move through these things fast enough and get to that ladder.
Nice.
Ooh. 13.
Okay.
That's a 16 plus 3 for a total of 19.
Okay.
Wow.
Did anyone roll below an 8?
Oh, okay.
Am I rolling again?
So yeah, we'll roll. Everybody rolls agility one time. Okay, you got a 7. Still, everybody else's rolls are just high enough to bump you. You're already there technically, so you have a little bit more of the leeway through that. And now everybody else except for Vat, because Vat's still right there at the moment, everybody else make me one more agility test.
Fucking
13.
awesome. That was 19 plus 3 for a total of 22.
Oh, I have that blanket.
And with that 22, I'd like to help Vat up as I'm making my way.
Perfect. So I'll say with both of these rounds, everybody has enough momentum and energy to pick each other up and move each other forward. You start seeing now that this domino effect has started to spiral outwards and all of these creatures are writhing, their mouths opening, all of the snow getting snuffed out of this one large nostril on its forehead. And you all basically dive down this tunnel and crawl down this ladder. And you do it fast enough that these creatures, you get out of their 5-foot radius. And as they start to like writher, and you can hear them starting to scream. Their scream is deafening. And as you hear these screams, as you continue to move down and get further and further and further from them, they start to become less and less and less and less. And you are all traveling down this tunnel now.
Yeah. Okay. I would like to make it canon that since I did hit that 22 after a 19, I made it first, and I literally just grabbed the sides of the ladder, hook my feet on the outside of it, and slide down like a video
with
game.
flavor and flair. I love it. All right, so you all reach the bottom of this, and at the bottom, you immediately turn, and you are opened to this massive cavern. It is about 300 feet wide by 300 feet wide, this circle of absolute beautiful black obsidian in ice. And as you look on the ground, you start to get your bearings. You realize that the ground is made of clear crystalline ice. And beneath it, you see this massive serpent slowly turning. Slowly turning, like it's just kind of almost like in a crystal ball staying in one place.
Time to activate Jingle's foot fetish.
All right, so roll me a presence. Let's see if you can get that.
Oh, I hope so.
DR 12.
13.
All right, you barely got it. All right. So you activate this spell, and immediately as you hold open this spell scroll and utter the incantation, you see it start to burn away. And with that burning away, it turns your body entirely invisible. And you are invisible for roll me a d4.
I just did. It's a 3.
3. All right. So I'll say about you got about 2 minutes. I'll say you got about 2 minutes with this, equating to 3 rounds of combat.
And then I just stay off to the side and away from everyone else and just like be slunked up against the wall and not moving at all, just like completely invisible, like no one can see where I went.
Perfect. And with the other 3 that have come down and you open up to see this, can everybody roll me presence, and I will give advantage to Intollerance for being invisible, being able to get kind of out and see the
Thank
bigger part
God
of the
for
room.
that. I just rolled another nat 1 on the first roll.
All right.
And the second one's only a 4 plus 0. So I still fail, but like at least it's not critical.
Okay.
17.
17? Okay. So out of all those
11.
rolls, P.A.M, you are the first one to see as you kind of peek your head around. You see that there are in this room, in the center of it, you see a massive, massive ritual table with a humanoid figure behind it. Another very, very tall figure, this one clad in all red. Everything from head to toe is red. They have 3 skulls stacked on top of their head in the form of a headdress, and it is veiled in this red fabric which drapes down their entire body into this tunic. And on their face they have streaks of what you can assume is blood. It's thick, it is nasty, and it is frozen there. It stands in stark contrast to the world around you, especially this black obsidian and this white and blue ice. And he is standing in front of an altar table, what you can assume is a ritual table, where you see a very, very strong blue energy is emanating from it. And it is not only piercing upwards into the actual cavern, it's piercing down below. And now you can kind of see and recognize that it's the same color as that liquid and that thing that the giant serpent, the Leviathan Thedkruketh, is frozen inside of. And you see he's got maybe 4 or 5 other cultists around him, kind of just listening to him. And with the 17, I'll say that you hear him say, "Nechrubel is the world's bastard liar. His prophecy is a fallacy upon the plight of us all. And this world will not end. We will make it so. The third communion will make it so." What do you all do?
I hate to say it, but
Heretics.
Schlars?
Heretics, you will fall on this day. For the Blood Countess and for Nechrubel itself, you will fall. He draws his sword and charges. Yeah.
Okay. P.A.M, what are you gonna do?
Pam's gonna turn around,
Mm-hmm.
about to say something.
Mm-hmm.
Schlars, Leroy Jenkinson.
Mm-hmm.
Pam is just gonna quietly, silently pull the draw the bow and pull out the bow, draw an arrow, and try and provide support to Schlars as much as possible from this vantage point.
Okay. And Vat, what are you gonna do?
I get into my pack and I pass out everybody a bowl, or it's like a stone with like some sort of lid on top. It's like Tupperware, but it's not a real Tupperware. And it's spider owl soup. And I do not know where Intollerance went, but I put one on the ground for them in case that they want it. And I tell everybody, if you eat this, you can see in the dark and you can climb on walls.
ooh.
All right. And I will say, since she's doing that and everybody's kind of getting ready, if y'all want to take that as a presumptive action before initiative,
Heck
I
yeah.
will let you do that.
Actually,
Yeah,
I
for
can
sure.
do that.
Yes. Yeah, see in darkness and you can climb on the walls for 30 minutes.
Nice.
Perfect.
Yeah, I
that.
bend over and just take handfuls of it and gobble it up.
Perfect.
Oh, yes.
Guess
Awesome.
Very,
Schlars would,
very drinkable.
Careful not to take a step.
Okay.
I guess Schlars would smear it on his armor and bones.
Yeah, it'll still give you the same effect. I'll allow it to still give you the same effect since you can't eat.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you do this, you all kind of feel like this jittery sensation within your body, this like extra strength, and you feel more like adhesive is the best word I can think of. And if you start to touch
I love that
anything
feeling.
or start to walk on anything, you are going to be able to climb with much ease.
Okay.
And I will say now that you have all done that and they are absolutely aware that you are there from Schlars' yelling comment, we're going to roll initiative. And since Schlars, you kicked it off this time, can you roll me a d6?
Sure.
Can I just say, this is rad.
Nope.
So good.
I believe that means they go.
That's a 1. All right, so the enemies are going to begin. And you see as he's kind of interrupted in his courtly speech, he goes, "Get them!" Like in this weird half attempt of like being the guy in charge. And there are 3 other cultists besides him that actually go after you. There are 2 that you see escape outside of, there's like a separate little tunnel you see behind him. They're gonna run outside of that tunnel. So it's 3 cultists and just the 1 leader. So I'm gonna have them approach you. They only have short swords. So they're going to try and get as close to you as they can. They're still a little bit far out of the way. So they actually are just gonna run at you. And when they all of them end their turn, they're gonna be at about like 10 feet away from you all. And it's just this massive cavern. And there's not much in the way except for there are a small like couple jutting rocks in between there and here. And there's a raised pedestal where the ritual table is set, where it looks like most of the magic is emanating from, even when the leader steps away. So they're going to spend their turn rushing towards you all, and now you all get to respond. Who wants to go first?
I will immediately pull out my other scroll and try to cast Daemon of Capillaries on the leader.
Okay, absolutely. Okay. Roll me that presence.
That's intense of a name.
No, gosh, I only rolled an 8.
Do you have an omen?
I do have an omen, and one of the uses can be to add a d6.
Yes.
Okay.
No, I'm just gonna do a reroll.
Okay.
It's more
Do
of a
that
chance
reroll.
with a reroll.
Sure. Gotta get a 12.
Or reduce DR by 4.
Oh,
Could've done
if
that.
I could reduce DR by 4, I didn't realize I could do that. That would have been a pass if I just
Yes,
did that
absolutely.
instead.
If you want to use that instead, by all means.
Yeah.
Big money,
Big
yes.
money, big
All
money.
right,
All right.
so now
roll
I
me-
roll a d6 to see how many rounds.
Yep.
3.
3
and-
rounds. All right.
Yes.
And then roll me a d4 to see how much HP he loses right now.
Oh, yeah.
Just 1 right now.
This one, not a problem. So you see as a spell, once again, you hold it open, you utter the incantation, and it burns in your hand. As it burns in your hand, you look and direct it towards the leader of the cult, and you see he kind of all of a sudden like starts gripping his throat, and he's panic. He can't speak. He's panicking. He's waving his arms. He's gripping. He's like tearing at the cloth, thinking it's the cloth, and you can see that he is starting to suffocate. He's very quickly starting to suffocate.
And then with my movement, since I'm tucked up against a wall, I am literally, since I can climb on walls now, just gonna start using my hands and not my feet, since I have a +2 in strength, and just start like climbing closer to them, just using my hands while I'm invisible.
I love it. I love it. As you start to climb this cavern and start to move closer to them, we'll move on over. And who would like to go next?
Yeah, I will. P.A.M is going to run as far up a wall as he can, out of reach, and also to get a height advantage, because that's something
Absolutely.
that ranged users do. And then fire down at whichever one is closest, whichever cultist is closest to Schlars.
Sure, it'll just be one of the 3. They have
Great.
no really discerning features except they are just all clad in a black cloak that's covering their face, and they've got this weird kind of reindeer-esque skull mask.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna name that one Jacob. I'm firing at Jacob.
All right. So I'm gonna name this one Jacob that you're firing at. All righty. And I'll give you advantage on that since you have the height
Ooh,
from the
sweet.
spell, and they are not prepared for that.
Okay, so that would have been, let's see, so bow is presence, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that would have been a 14, and then with advantage, 15.
Perfect. Awesome. Roll me that damage.
5.
All right, so you strike this cultist right in his heart. Your advantage, you have that momentum, you have the energy, you've seen what's been going on, and you immediately pull it back. You take that breath, you let it go, you pierce his heart, and he immediately falls back, prone, dead on the ground and unmoving. You have slayed Jacob the cultist.
P.A.M. dabs.
And we will move on to whoever would like to be next.
Pat, if you'd like to go.
Yeah, sure. Vat is going to find whatever confidence she can and try to run up her sword into somebody.
All right, perfect. Absolutely. You can close in that distance.
Yep. 10.
10, unfortunately, does not find too much of a purchase, but you get close enough where you are now like in combat range with one of them. We'll call him Harold. I don't know why, but we're calling him Harold. Harold the cultist. You are now in combat with him. You try to swipe wide, and unfortunately, you just rip his cloak. It's a little bit weird to see how big of the cloak is and how much fabric he's wearing compared to like his maybe tiny body on the inside. So you just kind of cut a little fabric off, but you're within combat range with him right now.
Nice.
All right. And who's next?
So Schlars is going to take his trident off of his back that he's had this whole time.
Cool.
With one hand, he's going to chuck it at the other cultist. Got a 17.
That hits.
There we go. And I guess I could have. That'd be 5 damage.
All right, so the unnamed cultist, we'll just name them Jerry. Jerry, the unnamed cultist, gets harpooned in the throat. You just see as he's straight up. It's like Triton, you know. You just you javelin throw it with that precision. You are a warrior. You know what you are doing, and you go right for that main jugular because he is a living, breathing, aware, fleshy creature. You're like, that will work. And you find purchase, and it kind of like goes sideways. So like one prong's in his chest, one's in his cheek, and one's like in his his throat area. You know, it just kind of like hits him in that one area. He falls over prone and starts to bleed on the floor. And you see now that the cult leader is terrified. There is an actual look of fear in his eyes, as the only ones left are him and Harold.
And as my trident found purchase, and I stare directly at the leader, I kind of quickly walk up to the down cultist and yank the trident out, and I take aim again at the leader.
I love it. You grab that trident and you find that defensive stance. You're ready to keep attacking. Intollerance.
All right. I am going to continue my climb in the wall. Well, first off, let me roll this d4 to see how much damage the leader takes.
Oh, wait, did you already go? Did everybody go this round?
Yeah, I went first.
Oh, okay, perfect. All right, so then we're back to the cultists.
I was a little confused.
Yeah. No, it's okay. I totally forgot who went. That was my fault. We're going back to the cultists. Harold, looking around and seeing his dead comrades, is going to be full of anger and vitriol, and he is going to run towards, we'll say, Vat's in contact with him. So we're gonna see that he is going to try and take a swipe at you with his short sword. Let me roll. Oh my gosh, now I have to roll. That's so weird. No, he rolled a natural 1.
Hey!
He's actually gonna, like, while he's trying to run at you, he's so discombobulated by this. They were not prepared. You caught them by surprise. That he actually trips on his robes because his robes are way too big for him. And he falls flat on his face. He is prone. He fell on his face. And you can probably assume that he broke his nose. And I'm actually going to give him a point and 1 HP of damage from that. And you see him kind of like lift his head up, and it's just gushing with blood. His nose is crooked. He looks like a mess. It's already starting to bruise because of how cold it is. It's just, he's not looking great. And the leader is going to actually pull out a spell scroll himself, and he is going to try and cast a spell. Huh?
Can he read it while he's choking?
Oh, he's choking! No, he can't do. Never mind. He can't do anything. He's choking. He can't read a spell. So he's actually going to try and reach for a staff, and try to hobble. He's gonna try to close the distance. And he saw that you were the one that tried to swipe at him. So he's gonna see if he can reach you with the staff and try to poke you to get your balance off to make you fall, because he doesn't know that you have spider climb right now.
I'm still invisible.
Oh, you're in.
Are you?
Boiled again.
Boiled again. This guy, you know what? No, this guy's just gonna keep choking because he is so caught off guard. He has no idea what he's doing, and he's just kind of like, he takes his staff out, but he's just gonna start swinging it wildly, hoping nobody will come near him if he's just swinging the staff like a madman. All right, and we're back at the party. We're back at the party, and Intollerance, I'll have you go first once again.
All right, let me roll this d4 to see how much damage the cult leader takes.
Yep.
This time it's just 2.
Okay. You
And-
see now as it continues to go, he's like, now instead of swinging, he drops the staff, and he's like almost buckling to the ground. He's having a hard
as he
time.
drops the staff, I'm going to push off of the wall with my arms
Okay.
and try to land right next to him as I come down, as I pull the staff out and come down and swipe at him.
Okay.
Nice.
Perfect. Roll me that melee damage, or that melee that strength. We want strength.
12 plus 2.
Oh yeah, you absolutely hit him.
Yeah.
Roll that damage.
Oh, dropped it. 3. Hey, 4.
Okay. Tell me how you kill this cult leader.
Oh, I'm just going to slam it right into his neck. That way it reinforces the choking and just like fucking knock him back with the throat strike straight to the throat, throwing him backwards onto the ground.
I love it. All right. So as you come on down, and you almost like, you come down with it like perpendicular, but as you kind of see he's choking and what he's doing, he's kind of leaned off to the side. You reorient yourself and you come at it with the side, almost like a baseball swing, and you crack him right in the throat. You hear a visceral, nasty, wicked crack. You know that whatever bone was there, not there anymore. And he's clutching his neck and he's gripping at his cloak, and his eyes widen at the strike. And with those eyes wide, his mouth agape, still clutching, he freezes in place and just falls straight forward.
And I just want it to be known that as my feet hit the ground and he is flying backwards, the jingle bells just ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They with all these steps and flying through the air, you are an invisible force that has just knocked his fucking rocks off. And you just crack him in the side of the head. And when you land, these jingle bells, they just are a massive cacophony in this entire cavern and bounce off of every surface. And actually, because of this, the cultist that is still alive, Harold, is going to be considered terrified. And anybody who attacks him next is going to get advantage.
Say that.
So you got one left, and he's on the ground, he's
Jingle
prone, he
bell
just
rocked
broke
that.
his nose. Who's gonna try and attack him next?
If you don't,
I
bet,
can-
will.
Or no, go ahead, Schlars.
Whoever would like to go
Okay.
next.
Well, as I watch Intollerance down the cult leader, I immediately pivot and take my trident and chuck it at Harold.
All right.
Oh,
Nat
All right.
20.
So what I'm gonna say happens is Harold fell right in front of the ritual table. And as he's trying to scramble up, and he kind of sits on his back side and is like sitting against the ritual table, you throw this harpoon so hard and so fast at him that it punctures straight through his body and punctures right into the ritual table behind him and actually cracks it. In that crack, you start to see skitters up and skitters up. And with the cold, it skitters up and eventually breaks the table in two with that natural 20. And you see when it breaks the table in two and Harold's blood starts to spill and fill in the gap, you see that crackling blue white energy that was there before, that was feeding Thedkruketh, keeping him docile, keeping him under their control. You see that it starts to dim and dim and dim and dim, almost as it's growing back into himself. And then you see it plunge into the water, into the ice below, and it blackens it completely black before it once again becomes clear. And instead of this blue serpent, this frozen being that is just circling the ground below you, it is now this viscerally dark green. It is alive. He is moving and he is pissed. I need everybody. We're going to do a skills challenge round. 3 rounds. While he bursts out of the floor, you see the head of Thedkruketh break open as you all stand there. The ground beneath you is starting to shift and move and become very unstable. He is breaking this cavern apart to become free. You all need to get out as fast as you can. So everybody roll me agility. We're going to do 3 rounds of a skill challenge to see if you can make it out of this alive before the cavern falls on top of you.
13 plus 3 for a 16.
16, all right.
Schlars got a 19.
19, cool.
That has a 5.
5, all right. What about P.A.M? Oh no, did we lose Kappa?
I keep getting
there you go.
connection unstable. Am I good?
There you go. I got you. You're here.
P.A.M got a nat 20 on this one.
Nat 20,
Nice.
perfect. With those high rolls and that nat 20, I'll say that P.A.M even kind of scoops Vat up. Vat, you kind of like lose your balancing. It's really unstable. You're kind of unaware at this moment. You get picked up by P.A.M and you all make it through the first half. You make it into that little kind of alcove where you first came down the ladder. Everybody make me one more agility check as we go up the ladder.
Finally, a bad agility roll.
4.
4,
4 plus 3 for 7.
7.
Are we allowed to share our omens with
Yes,
others?
yeah, you can share your omens.
I'll spend an omen to help either of you, Intollerance or Vat.
I have a very high agility, so if you give it to me, most likely I'll pass it.
Yeah,
I also have another 2 omens if you want to take the other one, Matt.
I sure will.
Sure.
Cool.
And with the help of friendship, I'll give you advantage because friendship always wins in the end, even at the end of the world.
I'm sick of this virtual dice.
Think of the garlic bread I shared with y'all.
You got real dice?
Yeah, the garlic bread. The strange garlic bread. It's unsettling.
It's all right. It is totally okay. Vat is just having a hard time today. But regardless,
I rolled a 3 plus 3 with that extra roll of the die.
So unfortunately, the two of you are falling behind. You are falling behind, and because of that, you slip and you fall, and like that, you kind of hit your chin on one of the rungs of the ladder because you're just trying to climb up so fast. So take 1 point of damage. Intollerance the same. You try to climb up as fast as you can, and because Vat kind of stumbles for a second, you stumble for a second, and you're gonna lose 1 HP as well.
I have one question really quick.
Sure.
Did you want us to start with 4 HP? Because if not, okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, especially you. That's fine.
Yeah, considering I rolled a 1.
Yeah. No, 1's for HP. You're like, I don't know, so you're fine.
Okay, so I'm at 3. Cool.
Yeah, so you'll lose 1 HP as well, but you still, it's like the cracks are starting to make your way to your feet. You are on that last rung, Vat, and it's starting to crack beneath you, but you just start to pull yourself up just enough in time, and everybody scales the ladder as quickly as they can. I need 1 more agility test as you try to make your way through these snow people before it all caves in.
I'd like to say that I'm not on the ladder. I am still using the spider climb, which still has like 29 minutes left on it, and just like going up next to the ladder. My invisibility has run out yet.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Ooh. I'm gonna have to spend my last omen on myself.
All right.
Would it be possible for P.A.M instead of taking the turn to climb out, help everyone else?
Absolutely, if you would like to, yes.
Yeah.
I will take any consequence of that staying behind to do that, because that's what P.A.M do.
Sure.
Okay, so that's advantage on the roll, or?
I will give everyone advantage on their rolls, yes.
All right, because that first was a 10, this one's a 16. Perfect.
Hey, okay.
Well, unfortunately,
14.
Even with advantage, I still fail.
That is totally okay, because even with the help, I will say P.A.M. helps everyone succeed. However, P.A.M., you're going to take 2 HP from taking everybody and taking the time to help everybody up. You're taking the brunt. Things are falling on top of you, but you keep pushing forward. You're helping them move forward. You're kind of like the buffer between them and these snow people. You're knocking them out of the way, and they're starting to shift and shake, and the rubble is starting to fall from the cavern top, or the cavern above you. And they're screaming, so you're all distracted. So you take those 2 HP. However, everybody else is going to get out of the cavern. I need P.A.M. to make me one more agility roll then, if you are going to be the last one behind.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Come on.
Ooh, okay. That is a 15 plus 1.
Nice.
That's enough. That is definitely enough. So you, just as the massive starts of the roof start to cave in, and you can feel the floor beneath you crack and also start to cave in, this thing is coming down and coming down hard. As soon as it starts to crumble and fall and break, you run out. You literally dive out in the last moment as a massive cacophony of rock, rubble, ice, and whatever bits of this creature that was come crumbling down and fall into a giant pit that was once this obsidian cavern. And you have all made it out alive. You all take a collective break. You breathe, just kind of thinking about what just happened. You collect yourselves.
I wish y'all could have seen what I did to that guy. Like, oh my god, fuck.
And
I caught some of it.
you share in the revelry, in the completion of eradicating the third communion cult, in releasing Thedkruketh, the Leviathan of the Endless Sea. You take your time. You traverse back to the Blood Countess herself within the walls of Ilians. And you are all revered as heroes, inquisitors of the highest regard, and are all given a pouch of 200 silver apiece as your reward.
I put in word with the Countess if she would be so kind as to at least consider letting the toy maker make his way back to the town.
Absolutely, yeah. And with that, you put in this word, and she agrees, and she says, absolutely. I can let him go now. Yes, guards. And she sends her guards off to release Bagavit, the 3-armed toy maker, so that he can start traversing on his way home, while you all make your way back to Gelgenbeck, to your homes within the keep of the High Priestess. And with that concludes the story of the Frozen Serpent. I hope you guys had fun.
It was
so much fun.
I had a great time.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank y'all
Oh my
so
God.
very much. That was really great. That was really cool. I'm really stoked. That was awesome. You guys did amazing.
That was amazing. That was so much fun. That was so much
putting
fun.
me on the edge of my seat there a bit.
This is good. Like a great intro to Mork Borg. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
I'm
this was
very
an
happy.
amazing
Yeah.
intro.
So are Jess and Skull the only ones who played? So I had half who played and half who are new.
I think so.
That's wonderful. That's so great. I love, one of my favorite things about being a DM or just playing in general is always introducing people to new games and new systems. So I'm very happy that you all enjoyed it and felt it was a good introduction to your Mork Borg adventures. And I hope you continue to be spared by Nechrubel as he continues to make all your lives a living hell.
May he save your soul.
May he save your soul.
May he
and
save our
Maybe.
souls.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you everybody so very much who's taken the time to watch all the games this weekend, and especially this one. It's the last game of the weekend, and we have a final tally of $550 for Saint Jude, that is
Nice.
incredible.
Amazing.
You all did
Awesome.
amazing. You all made this possible. The viewers at home, thank you so very much for taking the time out of your day to watch, support, and for those who donated, taking the money right out of your pocket and putting it towards a great cause, especially during this holiday season. I really, really do appreciate everybody, and I think that's all we got today. Why don't we go around one more quick time? Everybody say, we'll do your name, where we can find you, and give us your favorite moments of the session today. So we'll start with P.A.M.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kappa, and I had the distinct pleasure of playing with all of y'all, and playing what was the name? Painful Attracts the Moon, or as everyone knows him as P.A.M. You can find me on Twitter at the Kappa Chris. I do the whole TTRPG thing, trying my best to uplift marginalized voices, do a lot of charity work, and all around just nerd out on the internet as we all do, right? I also have a Twitch channel. It's very sporadic of when I play, but I do have some games in the works. Twitch.tv/Kappa Chris. If you have, I also help and organize and run Friends Who Roll Dice. So if you are familiar with Friends Who Roll Dice, another great place that does charity work. I'm one of the people behind the scenes. Go check out all their work. Tonight was also the mid-season finale of The Soul's Confidant, a game run in Invisible Sun and game mastered by our lovely mayor. So go over to Friends Roll Dice, all the stuff that we do. We got more content coming to you in 2022.
Awesome. And before we move on,
favorite moment.
Yes, favorite moment.
I don't know. It was all really cool. Like I think it's just I got it. The sort of role play that we all had in while we were traveling that led to the antlers in the
the little joke prank. That was
just
cute.
Just little moments like that. Like Mork Borg is supposed to be dark and everything, but that doesn't mean we can't mess around and joke with each other.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so very much, Kappa. We appreciated having you here. Before we move on, I just want to say hello and welcome Devil's Luck Gaming, who decided to raid us.
Oh my God, thank you.
Yes. So I'll just give a little quip. We are at the end of the game. However, you should go back and watch the VOD. It was really fun. We played a session of Mork Borg, which is a Swedish death metal game. If you've never played it before, and if you have, it was a lot of fun. We have been raising money for St. Jude all weekend. We are in our last couple minutes here. So if you feel the need to just donate at your last minute at your leisure, donation link is !donate. It's right there in the chat. And we'll move on over to Sin. Sin, how are you? How is it for you? Tell us who you are.
OMG. Yes, my name is Krimsin, but online I go by Singal with an underscore, just because that's the last 3 letters of my first name with the first 3 letters of my last name, and I really dig that. I stream on Twitch, and I also have a Twitter that I follow and retweet a bunch of TTRPG news as well as trans stuff, just because I am trans. And yeah, basically this was like one of the most fun games I've played in a really long time. I really enjoyed it. It was like the way that I was able to stack everything on top at the end and just like be a stealth assassin with Jingle Bell feet. Like, oh my God, that was amazing. Thank you so much for this experience, and thanks for having me.
Absolutely, it was a pleasure to have you, and you can jingle all the way back and hopefully keep this in a wonderful memory for you. We're gonna round it out, and we're gonna go moving right down. We're gonna go to Skull. How are you doing, Skull? Where can we find you? What do you do? And what was your favorite moment?
Well, you can find me either on Instagram, well, really only Instagram under the Sculpting Chin. I'm active on Discord, of course. I have an itch page where I've been putting up some original Mork Borg content. I'm currently working on something for the Christmas jam that they've got, the Anti-Christmas jam that they have going on. Working on something really nasty. My favorite moment, either I'd have to agree with P.A.M. that it was the antler moment, or also the just being a badass with the trident.
That was
also fun, too.
killer, quite literally.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. And Schlars was amazing. And we're gonna round it out with last but not least, Jess.
Also,
where can we
I
find
just
you?
want to say this was my first live stream on Twitch, so I'm glad that I was able to bring.
Oh
my
God! Amazing.
Yeah.
We're so happy to have it be the first stream of yours. I hope you enjoyed it. And by all means, you're more than welcome back, at least in any of my games.
This was my first TTRPG stream.
Oh wow!
Whoa!
We got a lot of
What a
firsts. I love
natural.
this.
So many
Both of you.
firsts.
Barriers. We're
Hell
building
yeah.
up memories. I love this.
I really want to find a more permanent game. Just saying.
For
Reach
sure.
out to me on Twitch, anyone.
Jess, where can we find you? And what was your favorite moment?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it real quick. I'm at Goblin Queen 3 E's, Twitter and Twitch. I'm at Instagram j.rancor. Please, I love making friends, especially internet friends. I absolutely loved Bat's realization that she has become a tree for the bats.
Yeah. That was really
definitely is gonna have like a existential crisis about that. And I would love to thank Ray so much for building this beautiful story and the characters that you absolutely just 100% brought to life. And of course, thank you to the Initiative Order and everybody who's involved there. This is a great channel. And if you came here from being rated, absolutely stay and stick around. This place does great things.
Yes.
Shout out to Danny, the tech production tonight.
Yes, shout out to Danny. Danny did our tech today. Danny is the owner of the
Keeping
Initiative
things
Order.
in.
He's the guy who helps kind of make everything happen here. A wonderful, absolutely great person who definitely needs to go to bed. So I'm gonna make this super quick.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is With a Brick or Brick everywhere on the interwebs with 2 Ks. You can find me there. I've got a Twitch channel. I do a lot of video game roleplay. So I do a lot of Red Dead roleplay and GTA roleplay right now. That's kind of what I'm doing. Beyond that, I'm a freelance writer and a graphic artist. You can find me everywhere on the interwebs by the same name. And yeah, that's pretty much it about me. Thank you so very much, everybody, for being here today and letting me run this for you. Thank you to Initiative Order for putting on this weekend of charity and raising $550 for St. Jude. That is absolutely incredible. And once again, everybody at home for watching and donating. We appreciate you greatly, and I hope you all have a great night. May Nechrubel spare you all.
Happy gaming.